Mia, munataka kurudi kwa moto ama munataka kuokoka? Munataka kuokoka? Njia ya kuokoka ni Baba. Nawaambia.
Mlikataa Raila. Raila alikuwa mtu wa kwanza kulilia watu. Raila ndio mwenye kuongoza hii nchi. Mpende.
Muniache niunge Raila kwa amani. Na mimi naambia nyinyi watu wa Azimio, hapa Rift Valley tuko pamoja, petition ile ya pesa 8. Dawa ya hii Kenya ni kusupport Raila Amolo Odinga 100%.
Raila, tega sikio, tuko nawe hadi mwisho. Tuungane tuondoe Ruto, serikali feki ya uongo. Baba regesha maandamano, hawa mafisi tuwaone kando. Ruto ainue mkono, Gachagua afunge mdomo.
Baba tapika maandamano. Baba tapika maandamano. Baba tuende maandamano. Wakenya wamechoka.
Sisi vile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimfuata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu wewe umetukosea.
Sasa tumesema siku ya Jumatano. Uko tayari? Uko tayari? Tumesema sisi si majambazi.
You are watching Sound Candy Talk. Watch, share, like, subscribe.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tukutane Sound Candy Talk.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk. We are here to see to it that we break down our political cases at this point in time to ensure that nobody misses out on what is happening, especially what is being hidden from the understanding of the public. I want to appreciate everybody for choosing to be part and parcel of this particular conversation. We just want to bring you up to speed. There is something amiss with our usual YouTube channel, and therefore we are on this channel for a while, and then we'll revert back to our usual YouTube channel. So if you are able to get us, remind a friend and ensure that they are following the program on the right channel. I'm sure some will be waiting for us on the other channel. We cannot join that channel as at now until further notice. So please Share the link with everybody in your life. Let them know we are still on air and we are on this particular channel, Sound Candid Talk TV. I want to appreciate everybody for your commitment and continued support, even as we start the conversation tonight. Well, there is a push and calls for Namwamba to resign over the Kericho Stadium death. Now, that to me sounds far-fetched, but we will want to look at it keenly because kuna kitu kinatokota katika cabinet ya William Ruto ambacho sio kizuri sana, na ningependa tukakizamie kwa kina ili tukiebuka tujue kwamba kuna kitu ambacho lazima kitekelezwe kuokoa nchi hii mara moja. Then of course is UDA backtracking on the dialogue deal. There seems to be change of tone, change of language, and then, of course, the continued attacks on the person of Raila Odinga. How will you be discussing on a deal and then bad-mouthing and continuously attacking the very person that you need to get into the deal with? So that is very suspicious, and therefore we are asking, is UDA backtracking on the dialogue deal? Let's analyze this closely, and to help us into the conversation is our brother Ayaga, who is already here. But before he gets into the conversation, I want to call each one of us to be on the forefront and ensure that you are inviting somebody, reminding somebody, and of course, calling somebody and letting them know that you're already here. I am well guided by, who is this? Mr. Lara anasema we pin the link, the YouTube link, where on the comment section so that everybody can follow. Well guided, we'll soon be doing that. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll be putting up the poll not long from now. So kile ambacho na kuhimiza mahala pote ulipo, hakikisha uko hapa na unatekeleza wajibu wako kama kama mzalendo ambaye anaaminika. Thank you so much. Bwana Yaga, vipi?
Aya, niko poa kabisa sana. Asante Bernard. How are you?
I'm good. Good to hear you. Leo inaonekana hali ya anga sio mbaya kwako.
Hali ya anga iko shwari. Hii El Nino tulikuwa tunadhani huku Western Kenya itakuwa mingi kidogo, but hatujaiona vile. We have just seen the normal rains of October.
Ninyi mnataka kufuata unabii wa Ruto kwamba hakuna El Nino?
Hakuna El Nino. Hakuna kitu kama El Nino. These are just normal rainfall, like the way they do always in October, around November, then they will disappear around December. I don't see excessive rains.
Okay.
So pesa zetu za El Nino turudishiwe.
Mlikuwa mmechanga ama mlichangiwa?
Okay, now naona watu wamekuja akina Faiza Fadhila.
Yes, Bwana Yaga, continue. Ebu sema sasa. Cherargei na nani na boss Sholei wanasema Namwamba should resign because of what happened at Kericho Stadium on Mashujaa Day. How do you say that? Is that not too far-fetched?
I don't think Ababu Namwamba should be blamed for those historic stadiums of 6 months. Yeah, you know, when those historic stadiums, like Camarin in West Pokot, and another one was in Meru, and another one is the one Kericho Green Stadium. I don't think Namwamba is to be blamed. Namwamba is not to be blamed at all, at all. Bernard, if you look at Mashujaa Day, in fact, we should even talk about that day at all. Because even the guest of honor, who was the president of Angola, President Juan, who was supposed to be there, did not show up. So we need just to look that day in general and the embarrassment that day actually caused on Kenyans. Because, you know, when this clueless, planless government does something, it take a picture outside there, because that is an international day. We have international media like Al Jazeera, WION, and others, CNN. They will actually broadcast what happens in a stadium. We have never seen that ever before. And then there is this problem. Let them not blame Ababu Namwamba. No matter the state of a stadium, the people who ferried people there ought to have arranged how they go there. Ababu Namwamba was not the protocol manager of that day, of the event. The protocol manager, who ought to be Felix Kosgei, is the problem, not Ababu Namwamba, because such things are arranged at State House. That is a presidential function. A presidential function cannot be organized by a minister of sports. And if it is a minister of sport, I think what Ababu Namwamba did with that stadium, because within a year, you cannot build a stadium within a year. And I post it on my WhatsApp status that whoever refurbished that stadium is my Mashujaa. Those things were left in the counties. Raila Odinga Stadium is done by Wanga in Homa Bay. Sibarati has done a great job in finishing up the stadium in Kisii. Is almost in completion. Baraza is completing stadium here in Buhungu. Natembea is building Kitale Stadium here. Now you cannot tell me that within 1 year, since October last year, is enough for Ababu Namwamba. It's enough for Ababu Namwamba to clear a stadium that will hold a national function. That problem lies safely on Felix Kosgei, who is the head of public service, not Ababu Namwamba. Let them leave Ababu Namwamba alone. And the issue of Ababu Namwamba with this ministry, number one, look at that reshuffle. That reshuffle, they took some part of Ababu Namwamba's work, heritage and culture, and they gave it to Aisha Juma in that reshuffle. And it did not start yesterday. They told us the other day that Ababu Namwamba flew with some women into each marathon. I heard Moses Kuria in the floor of parliament claiming that Ababu Namwamba took some young ladies with him to a certain function. These are witch hunts. As much we may have a political disagreement with Ababu Namwamba, it doesn't mean that we fight Ababu Namwamba. He's our son, and we can defend him also when time comes. Bernard, you can hear me?
Yes, you're good. You're good. Keep going. So Namwamba should not be mentioned. Why? So why do you think Sholei and Cherargei are keen on Namwamba resigning over a function that I don't think even Namwamba was there?
They overdosed the stadium, you know. There is this, you know, president is losing what we call the social legitimacy, even back at home. Because I'm in North Rift, so we interact with these people a lot. So they overdose stadium by ferrying people as early as 5, they caused stampede. And remember, the weather was not good, so the attendance was in question. So what they did is very simple. They ferried too much people, and they never take care of how those people will go to the stadium. So it caused a stampede that killed about 5 ladies, 5 people. So they are trying to run away from that embarrassment from their own people that they killed on their own. Because we have had these things before. We have had them. If stadium carrying a capacity of like 60, don't take 60 people there at around 5 to show that president is loved. This is just a love story that has gone shower. People are ferried there. Wengine walitolewa hapa Kitale asubuhi na mapema na buses, na tuliwaona as early as 2 a.m. walikuwa they were being ferried. Yeah? Unaenda unajaza stadium, alafu badala waweke polisi hapo mapema wa control the flow, they wanted to take those pictures early as 5 a.m. to send a message that the president is loved at their home. It never worked. I think it turned upside down to them, and Babu Namwamba is not to be blamed, because we have stadiums that are under refurbishment, under renovation, and I don't think since Babu Namwamba took over, there is one single stadium that is ready for use. Blame the governor of Kericho that was there and the current governor who is here today. Those are the people to be blamed in that stadium scandal, not Babu Namwamba.
Now, I still get back to you. Now that you are exonerating Namwamba, why do you think Sholei and Cheraragei, who you know are the mouthpiece of William Ruto, okay? Why are they mentioning Namwamba? Is it that Namwamba is unwanted in the cabinet? Because this is not the first time. When they were athletics, there was that outcry, he should go. These other times, there is a group that went for Olympics or what. When they came back, there was nobody to receive them at the airport. So the family received them and they went. The blame was placed on Namwamba. Now, this death happens on Mashujaa Day, and Namwamba is still being called to resign or something like that. Is it that there is this cabinet should not be outside Rift Valley or something?
Thank you very much. Let me start by, there are 2 scenarios that happened that many people may not know where the rain started beating Babu Namwamba. There was a scandal at KEMSA about is it nets of malaria or something? And there is a PS, a lady from Central Kenya, ambao aliachishwa kazi. Then kuna mwingine anaitwa Peter somebody, Peter Kipwat, is it Kiptum? That was transferred from the Ministry of Health to Ministry of Sports. Mahali Babu Namwamba iko Bernard, tunataka ku host AFCON. And there are these ex-convicts from Kalenjin Nation. We can call them the current deep states. They want that ministry to be on their side, because this ministry, when you are approaching such big event, there is a lot of money. There will be a lot of renovation of stadium and amenities within stadium. So money is there in that stadium. So Babu Namwamba is a wanted guest. Maybe they never see it coming, but Babu Namwamba is just unwanted guest kwa hii wizara. Yes, because of the money that AFCON is going to send down here and upgrade those stadiums. You know where the money is. My grandfather used to say, my grandson, if you go to work, where money is involved, betrayal is inevitable. So Ababu Namwamba is a man under the siege. Why? Because of that ministry. That ministry will have a lot of money. And I think the likes of Cherargei want to control Ababu Namwamba. Being Ababu Namwamba, the guy I know, he can even pick to take a bull by its own. He has blocked some gerrymandering, stealing. He's trying to block, because he was even given Engineer Peter Kiptum as a PS. I think they thought we'll bring a lot of compromise, but Ababu Namwamba is not Alice Wahome.
Okay. So he's not signing papers in good time.
Yes, Ababu Namwamba, I just want to tell people the truth. Ababu Namwamba has the backing of the people from the Western, even the Nyanza region. Because Owalo is a minister of Wi-Fi. You know, Wi-Fi, we need Wi-Fi, yes, but for you to make money with Wi-Fi is not easy. So we need those stadiums from Western region where the beacon of football was pegged in this country. We want those stadiums to be renovated under Ababu Namwamba, so that Ababu Namwamba through our governors, bring us AFCON back to at home. Because look at the football, it is not Ukabila. If we talk of marathon and athletics, we have always leave it for the people of of Rift Valley. But when it comes to football, somebody telling you, we take football match to that stadium we see in Kericho. We take football to Eldoret. How many marathons have been taken to Bungoma? How many marathon games have been taken to Busia? If that is the reason why some people want to fight Ababu Namwamba, because of maybe if a game is being played in Eldoret, comes with it the hotels and the other things, we will not allow. Ababu Namwamba is under siege, but I believe Ababu Namwamba si Alice Wahome. Si Alice Wahome. Alice Wahome yule PS ametishatisha hapa wakapeleka kwa Ministry of Lands. But Ababu Namwamba will not. Even if they try impeachment motion, Ababu Namwamba will be. They should blame themselves. They took those people there. Ababu Namwamba was not the protocol manager. And presidential function, security, and intelligence is taken in that area a week before the event. So you can't tell us that the government is so disorganized. Up to a moment, things happen on that day. The NIS doesn't know anything. The MIS doesn't know anything. The CIDs around that place knows nothing. And then Dabra Kadabra, you blame it. It was not a football match. It was a national holiday. Let the Cherargei and the Cholets of this world realize that this event was a national holiday that is managed by government. In fact, from State House, it was a presidential function. Why were they building that state lodge? Is Ababu Namwamba is the one who built the state lodge in Kericho. So it is something they have been preparing from as early as January. And Ababu Namwamba is not the one to be blamed.
Okay, thank you. So we can comfortably say that the eaters want to eat and somebody's standing in their way of their appetite. And
exactly.
This appetite needs to be arrested, because how do you want to eat everything? You want to eat health, you want to eat football, you want to eat athletics. Do other people don't have mouth also to eat?
Bernard, unaona kitu itafanyika.
Subiri kidogo, I do some housekeeping. Ladies and gentlemen, you notice we are not on our usual channel. This is our other channel, and it's because our usual channel has issues with YouTube, and therefore we can't stream there live until further notice. So please remind every other person that we are on this channel, which we have renamed Sound Candid Talk TV. So if you're searching on YouTube, just search for Sound Candid Talk TV, or tell your friends and your neighbors to search for Sound Candid Talk TV. It will bring them right on the right channel where we are live right now. Then somebody's asking, he's not seeing the poll question. The poll question is Namwamba to blame for the death at Mashujaa Day Kericho Green Stadium? So far, 7 people have cast their vote, and 29% say yes, and 71% say no. He is not to blame. So I want us to weigh on the same, even as we continue inviting each other, and of course, talk candidly on this matter, lest somebody wants to take advantage of the masses' ignorance. Before we go back to Ayaga, let's listen to Bulldozer. Bulldozer, long time. How are you? Bulldozer, unmute and speak up. You are still mute.
I'm happy to have seen you guys. How are you? Long time.
Great, great. We are here. Where did you go to?
It's like you guys are dead.
Who killed us?
Thank you, thank you for keeping the house and trying to do all what you people are doing. Thank you for that. In fact, I was been looking for always to get through. I hardly could see you guys on. So I've heard you said there were some problem with the past streaming. So I don't know what problem it was. And we were busy running up and down on issues around us here. We also caught up in things which are very difficult for us these days. The issue of the land wrangles. The government want to remove our land by force. So they are here rampantly everywhere, my friend, bringing their heads of cattle for fattening. Anyway, that is not the point here. Thank you. I've heard the question, but I may be declined. Only to say hi to you all. I've taken long. Thank you very much, Bernard.
Awesome, thank you. Now, what's happening with the elections?
The election not yet, but I was saying the land, northern part. They want to remove our land, my friend.
And give it to who?
To themselves, because there are a lot of things here. I will send you the details on your inbox so that you maybe get to know if it's necessary for you to know it as well. Okay?
Okay, sawa. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
No, asante sana.
Welcome.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep moving. Let's remind people to switch. We are on Sound Candid Talk TV. The Sound Candid Talk channel is not in use for now. If you can pin the wherever the link or to this channel on that particular channel, please do. Then of course share the link in those of you following us on Facebook and otherwise, so that watu wengi wasifungiwe, and then share kwa WhatsApp groups, share kwa Facebook groups. Let everybody be updated on where the live feed is right now. Mato Macandate, we have what? The poll question is on the, unless we go Sound Candid Talk. Tuko Sound Candid Talk TV. So, able switch. The poll question is on the feed right now, and we are waiting for your vote. So if you haven't voted, vote. We are asking whether Babu Namwamba is to blame. Okay, is Babu Namwamba to blame for the deaths at Mashujaa Day Green Stadium? You know what happened on the 20th, eh? 22% say yes, 78% say no. So please, let's participate. And before you cast your vote, please like the video. Like the video. It's important for you to do your reaction on the video so that it doesn't mess up with YouTube and our ranking. We want also to build up this as an alternative channel. In case we run into trouble with the other one, we should always have a hiding place. And so they make no mistake by subscribing here and, of course, turning on the notification bell. Let's everybody do that if you haven't, so that you are up to date. Asante sana. Back to Ayaga. The dialogue, national dialogue, led by Kalonzo Musyoka and Ichungwa. You heard what Baba said the other day. Said if the cost of living is not addressed, there is no signing of that deal. Is this going to survive or is dead on arrival?
Dialogue had a lot of issues. Dialogue actually has a lot of issues. I think these are just terms that they are trying to show it that we are not. Ruto is a little bit intelligent when it comes to politics. See economy imeshinda yeye, so ni politics is a good man politically. Number one, Ruto fear one thing. Ruto doesn't want to form the IEBC by himself because they form a committee to make up IEBC, and I think he was advised by somebody that this one will degenerate country to a very bad path with the current political situation. By 2027, these people will boycott the election and they will say they were never part of that formation of IBC. So I think Ruto, in his wisdom, took a break and say, let us do it this one. Let us have Raila office called opposition, because those were the things UDA side were proposing, and also Musalia Mudavadi office to be legalized, because as we speak, the prime cabinet office is illegal as per law. There is no such office. So after those two things, Ruto has rushed to rationalize cabinet by giving Musalia Mudavadi a legal office, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So he has cleared that. So they thought that the trap that they were using Raila to fall on that trap and then dump him and then use Raila to help them form the IBC commission. I think Raila is also dancing the style that is not good for them. Na hii ilionekana kitambo kwamba they think they will lure Raila Odinga. And even let me tell you one thing. There is this rumors of Ruto is disagreeing with the Gachagua. I think Raila is now too smart. They use that style with Uhuru Kenyatta, and they lured that mzee with his supporters to do blind things and then dump that old man at a stage that they think he will never recover. Raila has recovered, and now they see the NIS is trying to create some political environment that Ruto is having a problem with the Gachagua, so that Raila Odinga and their supporters jump into a vacuum that hold nothing with the celebration and being on the Ruto side, thinking that Ruto will use us again and dump us. We are very smart. In Raila Odinga's demands, cost of living was number one. You can't increase fuel every now and then. That is part of cost of living. We, as the supporters of Raila Odinga, we are saying, number one, Raila should even walk away from that dialogue, and we should not form IBC. And if Ruto want to form it, he should form it by himself. And if he want election, he should go and do his own election and win himself, run himself, win himself, announce himself, and swear in himself. Because we cannot have a country where you think if you tell us you want always to bring the animosity between the Luos and the Kikuyus for you to survive. I think that should come to an end. And our young brothers from Kikuyu land and Luo land should realize that this divide and rule, that somebody always think that Kikuyus and Luos are enemies, that if Raila Dida can have a handshake with Ruto today, Gachagua is going to rebel. They are going to be enemy. Yeah. And also we have this, if Raila and Gachagua maybe have a cup of tea, Ruto is going to rebel and we are going to have a problem. Uhuru used such kind of politics, he survived with them, and it is over. My friend, number one, there is no problem between deputy president and the president. It is something that is being created under this term of share. So Raila have seen them. So they can do their jokes. They can let Kenyan surfers. We are branding Azimio. We are moving forward. We are marching forward. Tukifika huko mbele, by next year, they will realize. What is the problem with these talks is you can see the regions are balkanizing. The meeting at the coast, where Joho reappeared since election, with all coast leaders speaking the one language, they don't want KPA to be privatized. That is their priority. You will see very soon the Western Kenya leaders also are reuniting. Even if you have had Didymus Baraza of late, is even threatening to join Ford Kenya. In fact, he said in a certain funeral that he's preparing to join Ford Kenya. So the Ford Kenya will be there. So Malala is running a war that he will not win. So the dialogue had a lot of issues because people think they will lure Raila with this, Raila will fall in the trap. My friend, you see those recommendations that are made there, need a referendum. If you want to form the office of Prime Minister, you have to go for a referendum because you are interfering with the basic structures of the Constitution. Ruto don't want to go that route because Raila may lure him to a referendum and oppose it. And Raila may use that to measure his strength. And with the current situation, the government will lose terribly. And going to election in 2027 after losing a referendum is a hectic to him. Look, the issue of land. Now, the issue of land is now very little. We have the Kirimas are claiming Njiru, Muhango, and Choka estates. They have people out of Kenya Portlands, land in Mavoko. So there is that hunger plus cost of living that Raila is fighting for. I think Raila may lure him into a referendum and oppose him. And they have realized that. So there is a push and pull. That's why you see those attacks on Raila Odinga, which is very nice for Raila Odinga because, now he has nothing to lose. Kenyans are not asking him the bay of fuel, the base of hunger. And let me tell you, Azimio is really planning a very dangerous game. And maybe perhaps mid next year, they will go to a full-blown election. They may use this as a tactics to delay that. So by mid-June next year, we reach that point without a IBC commission. They will make that as a political issue. They will make cost of living as a political issue. They will make the price of fuels as a political issue. They will make the overtaxation as a political issue. So it is still a measure. They are still giving the government a good time, because when they started, these people say, ndio tumefika kwa ofisi juzi, mtoto gani anazaliwa leo na kesho anakula. So I think Azimio has given them a good time. But if we go for a referendum, I'm telling you, Kenyans are going to vote no. Because if that referendum is not about cost of living, you have a money to conduct a referendum, to create an office for Mudavadi and Raila Odinga, who is not asking for it. Because if Azimio was the one pushing for that, at least, but when did the government sasa wanajalia mtu wa opposition mpaka wanataka kumtengenezea ofisi? They think in their mind Raila Odinga need an office to make Raila Odinga busy so that they can go on with dealing with the Kenyans, which I think Raila Odinga is out of that game. There is nothing will happen in that dialogue, and I'm telling you.
Sorry?
Bernard, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, so that is the fact on the ground. That dialogue, I think his time is over. Kalonzo have done his best with Kimani Chungwa, but the interest of politics at hand for now is very high.
So you are predicting that the stalemate after the collapse of the dialogue will result into what? Are we going back to Mandamano, or what's going to happen? Because the cost of living, I don't see anything being done in terms of lowering the cost of living. Listening to Ruto today, he still has no idea on what to do to fix the issues of the cost of living.
Oh, I think this will be a very bad news to Ruto supporters and the people who call him Doyen, Doyen of economy. The people who call him Doyen, I think these are going to be a very bad news for them. When that talk is called off and it collapsed, we are just going to have an election mood, because it is going to be a campaign. Because I think in Azimio, they have a candidate. They have a candidate that is ready to take on. It's a candidate that ikipakwa rangi mzuri, atapita tu. So, and when Azimio will go down to campaign, Ruto will be not in the office kukupangia venye wewe mama mboga na we mtu wa bodaboda utakula. He will go all out also to campaign. And he will end up doing 5 years doing nothing. And that is a very bad news for his supporters. A very big bad news for his supporters. For people who told us that the freedom has come, things are going to change, so many things are going to happen, Ruto is smarter, is has a PhD. My friend, by mid-June next year, when Azimio drop the issues of dialogue and they move towards, now they are going to Kenyans direct without a maandamano. Sasa ni full-blown siasa. Utaona Raila hapa katikati ya CBD Nairobi is doing campaign in Nyanza. Kalonzo will be in Ukambani and in Central. And you will see Uhuru Kenyatta will also join. Uhuru Kenyatta is going to Central Kenya. He will start in November. Thanksgiving for those people for supporting him for 10 years. That is a very dangerous, because Uhuru is going to a hostile ground. The people who reject him with a big dream, and the dream was now a daydreaming, they are going to realize that hiyo ilikuwa ndoto ile ya mchana. Yeah, nothing is happening, and nothing is happening soon. You watch at the statement of Ari Thuge, anaitwa Kamau Thuge, the PS of the PS of finance, that our currency has been overvalued by 20 to 25%. Kisungu mingi akuambie tu hii economy imetushinda, our currency is going to again be weaker against dollar, inaenda kupanda to 200 ama 180. Simple thing, badala ya kutuzungusha hapa na English mingi na kizungu mingi. Atuambie tu, my friend, $1 is going to be about 180 or almost 200 Kenyan money. Yeah, that's why I love Moses Kuria sometimes. You know, when Moses Kuria tell people the truth, they say Moses Kuria anatusi watu, lakini aliwaambia ukweli, this thing is going to inapanda, it's going to be that way. Na huo ndio ukweli yenye upo. Why? Because number one, the guy at the State House knows nothing about economy, has never run anything successfully. So he's just a gerrymanderer, a populist that has succeeded in his way. And they told us that guy will never fail. Why is he failing with the economy? Look, even the fuel price. They were doing sijui government to government, something that I've never heard of. Coffee wameshindwa. Juzi nilisikia sasa Gachagua anauliza brokers, ati sasa nyinyi musikule coffee yote, profit yote, atigawa na sisi. Broker gani atagawa na broker gani atagawa na wewe profit ametoka kwa broki? Na ile wakati walituambia I'm going to deal with kahawa, maziwa, chai kwa hii watu, hiyo ni kazi rais amenipea. Hakuna, wameshindwa. Wameshindwa. You can't run government with thorax. We are not in Moi era, my friend. Wanasemanga kama Moi ndio alikulea. We are in the 21st century. My friend, we left Moi in 20th century. Iliisha, hata aliingia tu 2022, aliingia 2 years kwa hii century. Na aliingia kama amechoka. So if you want to bring Moi of 80s by using police, by using thorax, by coercing chiefs to run economy, it will fail you big time. Nowadays, people even still digital. Mtu akutu kwake na amekuibia, ana discuss na ananini, watu utamshika saa ngapi? So these people, they just need to come to life. It is not working for them. So that dialogue that they wanted to Raila to hold waters, Raila has done them a good thing. Raila has given them time, very good peace, and they want it. Bernard, these people, they want trouble. Let me tell you, they want trouble. Number one, they are praying that Maandamano come back, but it is too late for them. They are praying for Maandamano to come back. Let me tell you, look at how they deal with the issue of Portlands. Ile Mavoko land. They want to provoke people to go back to the road. Look what they did to Raila and Turkana through that governor promising a president that I will not allow Raila to be here. When Raila is there, Raila is telling him, I don't need an invitation to be here. He cobbles with some of MCs and an MP of the area, which is a UDA member, using the son of the governor to cause chaos. They just want something that will provoke Raila Odinga supporters. And when Raila went to Mavoko and Kalonzo, they blocked him. They want Raila, supporters of Raila, to go to the street that they are they blame Mandamano on it. They will tell you, you know, we could have just been doing well, but being that there are some street protests, we cannot have tourists, we can't do this, we can't do this. So they want it. That's why you see, with this national dialogue is going on, they still send some dogs to spark on Raila, to provoke Raila, and Raila say, let me call a Mandamano. And I think they will not have it. They will not have it. They will fail peacefully. Yeah, that's politics. They are doing all this. You see, these people, they try to block Raila using the police. They try to harass Raila using some governors that they think are allied to them now. They try to do ABC.
Okay, Vanaiga, I think your net is beginning to fail. But thank you for the observation. Thank you for that line of thinking. I think we are making sense of what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute everybody for being part and parcel of this great conversation. Tuni, I hope you have located the poll. The link for the poll I've shared. Like the video and vote here. That's where I will take you to the poll. Boy 254 Studio Ministries. Sema Bernard, after a long time. Now you resurface. I've never gone anywhere. It is you who got lost. Yeah, I've been here all along. Where were you looking for me that you didn't see me? All in all, thank you. As we continue with the conversation, please let's be on the forefront in speaking out what we must speak out. The poll question is Ababu Namwamba to blame for what happened at the Green Stadium, the Mashujaa Day deaths. There is a call for his resignation by Shole and Cherera Gay. So we want to find out, is he the one to blame? So far, 18 people have cast their vote, and in the 18 people, 22% say yes, and 78% say no, he is not to blame. Very interesting, very interesting. So as we continue with the conversation, I'm calling upon us to be on the forefront. Let's do what we must do to secure our understanding of what is right, regardless of how we find ourselves. I'll be sharing some clips here, and then, of course, the one interesting one. Let me just put this as an overlay so that we look at it and talk about it shortly as we continue with everything else. Well, here we go. Now, this is Zakayo and his journeys, okay? Zakayo and his traveling. It is noted that he has done 38 ziyara, okay? 38, I mean, he has traveled in and out of this country 38 times since he got into office. Okay. Those are what? Foreign trips. Now, somebody has given here a tabulated wherever analysis of how presidents made their foreign trips and foreign journeys while they were in office. Barack Obama made 52 foreign trips in 8 years. Donald Trump made 24 foreign trips in 4 years. Joe Biden has done 15 foreign trips in 3 years. Boris Johnson did 22 foreign trips as wherever, premiership. John Pombe Magufuli did 3 foreign trips in 6 years. So Zakayo is breaking record of, let me just balance this, yes. So far, 1 year in office, he has already covered 38 trips. Can you imagine how many he will make before he gets out of that office? Food for thought. Thank you. I can see Mr. Guru. Mr. Guru, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome. Tuko maeneo mapya. Samahani.
Ni sawa. That's good.
Yes.
Do I go ahead?
Karibu tupatie yanayoendelea mlimani. Haswa we'll need some updates about Uhuru trips, Uhuru Thanksgivings. What is the mountain saying? As you weigh on this Namwamba to resign issues.
Bernard, I can tell you this, and you can take it to the bank. The moment Uhuru runs in central Kenya, the politics will start taking a complete different turn. I told you on this forum that the people in Mount Kenya are very, very impatient with the people who don't put money in their pockets. Hawatakangi story mingi. What they are hearing now are so many stories that they cannot understand. And for that, and because they have already noticed that they were cheated on 2 fronts. One, that we are doing so badly, yet actually in reality we are doing quite well when you look at the commodity prices. 2, that BBI was a wrong document. People have since come to know that it was a liberating document for the region. So that's why you see the sitting MPs today are confused. On one hand, some of them were assisted to get the positions by Ruto himself. And on the other side, they know they would want to perpetuate themselves in politics. And if they continue with the support that they are leading this government, their political career could come to an end very soon. In fact, as soon as the next elections are held. So that's why most of them are quiet. And it's a very depressing situation because those who are old enough, they have even started saying that we've gone back to where Moi left us as a community, where households could not be able to feed themselves, they could not be able to take their children to school. There was a lot of problem even getting money to go to the hospitals, and therefore there is a general state of helplessness, if I may call it so. That's why I told you the other day, today I doubt who will go to hold a political rally or an open air rally among the current crop of politicians. The word Kagege or Tugege is getting credence across the region because people are seeing these people as just people who are put there specifically to support one person, not to fight for the rights of the people. You heard the other day the cartels, the so-called cartels in the coffee industry seem to have become stronger than the government itself. So you can imagine, Bernard, a senior politician pleading with the so-called cartels that they defined the half-half, 50-50, wasikule yote. So this one is a state of desperation. But then again, I understood this matter a long time ago, and if you have been following my argument, I told you immediately after I heard what happened in Meru that these people are going to hit a brick wall, because that's not the way the coffee market is handled. It's a delicate market. It's not a market like that of bananas, and therefore you cannot seek to replace a buyer within 2-3 days, because what the buyers look for is taste, and they have to have the customer who appreciates the taste of the coffee that they are buying, so that they buy on their behalf. So it is not a one-off thing. So they started their fight against the so-called cartels on the wrong footing, and therefore I think Rigathi has noticed that this battle will take another 3, 4, 5 years before they reorganize and the farmer starts getting prices close to those that who left, and that itself will have an impact politically on their politics come 2027. Number two, they are not also doing very well in macadamia. Farming is almost corrupt. Actually, today you are going to find hawking of macadamia in polythene bags, which thing was not envisaged there before. People used to make as much as 200 shillings per kilo, and now it's gone to 15 bob. Then milk is almost the same levels that Uhuru left. There is nothing really much that has been improved. So Rigathi is suffering in two fronts. One, they promised people guaranteed minimum returns on crop prices, and you can see the way the economy is, so that one cannot be fulfilled, and more so because the economy is weak and it is something that was populist. I do not think those who fund us, the IMFs and the World Bank of this world, will be supportive of such a thing. Of course, I saw that they voted 4 billion to pay farmers in the short time, but how sustainable is this? That is the problem. So basically what it is that the honeymoon is over. The realignment has just started. Those hawkish politicians who are just dumping how they won, they have since muted. In fact, it is very interesting that today, if two politicians appear on Kikuyu TV, one Kagushia from Nyeri and the other one is from the Azimio side, you just sit there as the Azimio politician laments and laments. You will not see any serious attempt to kind of defend the government from those people, because they know that they are on the watch list.
Is it Azimio or you Kenya Kwanza?
No, I'm saying I've observed at least 2 debates, and I've seen when you have 2 politicians, one from Kenya Kwanza and the other one in Azimio, the Azimio politician will heap blame on the suffering of the people, on the government, but you see very little defense. In fact, some of them are going along with those complaints, which was like the matter there before, meaning they are also feeling the political pressure and they don't want to be identified by the people as insensitive, as not being able to see what is happening. Bernard, things are bad. Things are very bad, and it is so happens, unfortunately, that the Mount Kenya region, for its own structure or lack of it, is the one that feels deeply the pinch anytime the economy starts spiraling downwards. And like I told you unlike what many of you think from other parts of Kenya, the land sizes in most of the parts of central Kenya are small, and therefore the food that is produced can hardly take people through a certain period. So, and because the same food is the one that they use to get income, so most people have periods when they don't have anything and have to resort to the market to fill in the gap, and therefore they feel the pinch of a deteriorating economy almost immediately, and their reaction is almost immediate as well. So that is the situation right now in the region. It is even worse and compounded by the current formula of giving the students loans to go to the colleges. If there is one region that will suffer adversely, it is central Kenya. If that formula takes off, and many are finding it difficult to even keep a child in a TVET. So the pain is coming home, and it is coming in such a big way that people are left in a state of desperation, and because of that, I said if things don't change by mid next year, there will be what we call open rebellion against the government, because once people find that they are not making advance in their livelihoods, families are even deteriorating in terms of what they can afford to eat, how much they can afford to take their children to school, and so on and so forth, then you are not going to find smiling faces in that part of the country. And already you can see politicians being focused, because that's what I call. They have started taking cue. Some have taken cover. Others have decided to just play along as they wait to see which side things move. By next year, mid next year, you will hear some of them defecting from the government and actually criticizing the government. That you can take to the bank. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Banaguru, for that update. Very important and very interesting. So the brokers are supposed to bring 50%. Is it that Gachagua doesn't know business, or he just want to be funny?
No, Bernard, the truth of the matter is this, and that's why I don't know why Gachagua took that route, because his brother had tried the same thing in Nyeri when he was the governor. But he did not go it the way his brother is doing it. He had tried a softer way of looking for alternative market, silently, direct coffee sales. But then he also came against those forces because they are also interested in that coffee. And for that, they were able to put a very strong smear campaign out there that the coffee is being handled by people who have no experience, and they cannot even vouch for the hygiene. And therefore, he found himself with the stocks that were not moving. So it is the same game. I don't know why he has made that mistake, because essentially the first step they would have done is to look for alternative market and then confront the current buyers and tell them, if you don't give us this, then we'll be parting ways, and then look to the alternative. But now you are going to confront somebody and you don't have an alternative. So if he pulls back, by the time you are looking for alternatives, you have made farmers go through extreme losses that are not recoverable. So that is the situation that we have right now. Yes.
Okay,
And by the
thank
way,
you, Mr.
cartels
Guru.
in coffee, Mr. Bernard, ran from local to international. The international coffee cartels are more strong than even the local ones. These are just agents.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guru. We appreciate that, and we will recover this country. But in the meantime, we should look for how to survive and swim among crocodiles without being eaten. From the look of things, this country has been sold. It's no longer in the hands of Kenyans. And as proud as we are as Kenyans, there's a lot that is at stake because we seem not to have our voice is not listened to, our choices are not important, and our leaders are other people's puppets. And so serving other people's interests, there is something that we all just need to appreciate. And like, of course, the Kenya Kwanza administration, they keep distracting the public from the really problem. And now, like this Shulei and Cheraragei claiming that Ababu Namwamba should take full responsibility for the deaths of the people that died at the Green Stadium in Mashujaa Day. So how does that even come up in the first place? If Namwamba is not, he doesn't work for State House, he's not in charge of planning for the president's wherever programs, and Mashujaa Day comes once in a year, so they had a whole year to prepare for it. How could they do a shoddy job to an extent whereby they bring more people into the stadium than the capacity of the stadium? Ayaga already gave us some insights that some people were brought as far as Kitale, being ferried into the stadium. And why should he be ferrying people, even in his home yard? Is it that he has lost support completely, that even in his village, he's not able to gather the crowd, that he has to buy crowd in order to address them on an official public holiday? Ni siasa ya kununuana na kuuzana. Bwana Yaga, I see your light is reducing with every passing moment. Carry on.
Stima imepotea huku Kitale. Ni stima imeenda, so nitakuwa off camera.
By the way, Bernard, that is another phenomenon that has come back very strongly. The Kenya Power, I don't know what is happening. There is very frequent power blackouts across the country. Even here where I live, we have stayed for hours on end with the blackouts, and it just reminds me of the 1990s when Moi was in power, because that time you could not even predict when you have electricity coming to your home. So, but this I can say with certainty that I've not seen this kind of thing during the Uhuru presidency. Maybe a few blackouts over several months, but when it becomes every week, you have to have blackouts of hours that you cannot even know, then it becomes a big problem.
The voters that were eating up power were taken back after Uhuru had, you remember the Uhuru purging process that so Kina Henry Kosgei and the other team kicked out. And there was a cleanup in the Kenya Power. All those people were returned when Ruto came in. So if you bring in the mosquitoes, you must be prepared for the malaria. Ayaga, you can take it now.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you can get me clearly. My laptop can take me for some times. Bernard, I want to tell my brother Guru that we not even we don't have a sympathy for the central Kenya people, because this is the choice they made with the thinking. Let us, as much as we are politicking, let us actually educate our people the purpose of voting. Why are we voting? Because central Kenya, the voting has always been they vote against. They never vote. Their vote is not count. Yani is not for their benefit. They better vote against somebody. So they told us in 2007 they vote against Raila Odinga. In 2013 they vote against ICC. In 2017 they vote to return Uhuru to power. So they vote against power leaving them. And in 2022, they are now again telling us that they vote against Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah, let us have some level of education, mostly for the people of Central Kenya, because Bernard, I want you to give you a very simple thing that they sing about BBI and is going to affect them. I want you to take two constituencies. For example, in Garissa Township, where Duale used to be a member of parliament, the number of voters there is 5,000. In Ruiru constituency, in Kiambu, here is like 100,000 voters. Yeah. All MPs are given 110 million for CDF. You get a kid in Kiambu is getting a bursary of 2,000, 1,000. And a kid in Garissa is having even a bursary of like 50,000, 70,000, and they are very comfortable with CDF alone. They can manage national schools. A kid in Central Kenya who depends, coming from a poor family, who depends on a bursary, will hardly go to a day school. Why? Because the numbers do not match the money. Uhuru told them about something called one man, one vote. I think that could help them with the national cake. If it is being shared, these shares they are talking about is not even benefiting them. Because if you build a road, in fact, they told Uhuru they are not eating roads. So let us say if you take the money, because I'm told they are busy with the money in the pocket, they don't need roads. Yeah? So if you give them money, like you take 110 in Kiaru constituency for Ndidi Nyoro, and you go to Turkana or maybe Marsabit, let us take Lagdera constituency, for example, and give MP there the same money. Which criteria was used in the first place to give this CDF money to MPs? That's number one. That's number one. So I think that BBI thing was number one, going to create more constituency. It was about 25 extra constituency. I remember, Bernard, when we were still on the other side, I tried to remember convincing Akina, my brother Jakes, to accept BBI, that this thing is going to benefit them. They told us that anything that comes with Raila Odinga is wrong. And now the people who need that BBI, more than, what Raila Odinga is doing is using the delaying tactics. So when you form an IEBC by the end of next year, going for boundary review is not going to be easy. We may end up going to 2027 with the current political boundaries we have now. And who is going to suffer the most? Those people who are being told about shares, alafu wanapiga makofi, yet those shares from national government, county yenye inapata pesa Kenya mzima ni Turkana. Because after that, revenue they get from the government, there is what we call the semi-arid and sijui what. So they receive a lot of money. If you look the money with the population plus the CDF plus the GAF of the women rep, the kids from that region will go to better schools peacefully, minus even their parents. With how this government is increasing fee, I think those constituencies are going to be better. And you will see them topping national levels. You will see there's somebody in 2-3 years' time, guy who is supporting is topping KCP or KCSE will come either from northern Kenya or from the northeastern side, where the population is a little bit lower. So I think our brothers from central Kenya, what they need much is education. They should be told one thing: voting is not against, because if it is against, Uhuru Kenyatta is not suffering now. If I think if Uhuru Kenyatta could have given them those 25 constituencies, at least sahi in terms of bursary and kids going to school, ingekuwa rahisi kidogo kwao. Lakini with the current, and now they want to use Raila Odinga, when somebody is still singing shares, ask them, because they will vote against shares in 2027. That is what I'm seeing. They will say, we are voting now to have more shares, and we will be voting against the Luo people that they get shares, yet they never voted for government. So we are voting against them. You see such things, Guru. I think you guys need to go to the ground, advise your people, tell them this voting against is not helping you. In fact, it helps you put some people, sycophants, in office that will never help you. The best thing now, if I was an advisor of anybody from central Kenya, is to advise the younger generation, don't vote against anybody. Please vote to benefit you. And if anything, like having an extra constituency, divide Kiaru into even 3. Because look at Kiharu. Kiharu constituency have like 150,000, almost 200 voters. Yeah. If you go to Malamu, which is a county, is like a ward in Kiharu. And the people in Kiharu, they have problem with Raila Odinga. They don't have problem. And these are the same people who are telling us that they believe on who give the money in the pocket. Is the decision you are making today will give you money tomorrow, or you are just making that deal in emotional way that is not even benefiting you? And such people are very suicidal, because a guy who votes against is even ready to die, but whoever he doesn't want does not be in power. I think, Guru, you have a long way to go. I think we will be with you here, and sometimes we will have just debate to educate our brothers from central Kenya of how voting is taking place. Yeah. Come to Western Kenya, my friend. There you will get Ford Kenya, you will get a DAP, you will get ODM, you will get you will get even the parties you have never heard of, even Tip. All parties are here. So these people, what they vote, as much as people say they are divided, if you are here now, the same way I'm here, and now I elewa zaidi, is when you will know that these people, they are a little bit clever. They don't go to wave. Even in Nyanza now, we need to at least start thinking, because we always go with the one party line, which is very good. But hapa kwa ground, hapa chini, we need to teach some parties, these big parties, a lesson, because people are working. You see, somebody is a MP like Trans Nzoia County. ODM is in support. Amis is doing a great job. DAP has 2 members of parliament in Cheragaji and in Kiminini. Ford Kenya is in Kwanza. And DAP has a governor. UDA has a senator. UDA has a women rep. So it is a very balanced thing. and everybody is working. Not that if you go to your county in Nyeri, everything is UDA, of which means even me, Erika, if I come there with the UDA and I receive that ticket, people will just vote me. People will just vote me. Even if I am going to do nothing, people will vote for me. I think we need a game changer. More so in central Kenya, we need to advise our brothers from there that their voting pattern is going to cost them a lot. And the rhetoric from their leaders that shares. My friend, you cannot pick a tax from me in Nyanza and you tell me that you will not develop where I come from. Why do you need my tax? Pick that tax from Nyeri, accumulate it, do whatever you want to do with it, take it back to the Nyeri people. If you don't want to build road in Nyanza, don't come for our tax. We can do whatever we want to do with our money. It is simple and square. So this politics of shares, it will make Mount Kenya become isolated, because people will say, then why should we pay a tax to help other people? Yes, I vote the way I like. And also I give my tax the way I like, because I expect a return. You will not coerce me to vote on your candidate, and again coerce me to pick my tax, and again coerce me that my tax that need to come back for me, you also coerce me how it should get into me. I think Gachagua should style up, or else very soon you will see Mount Kenya becoming very isolated and it will haunt them.
Okay, Ayaga, just a moment. I know Guru is burning to respond, but before that, let's have this. Yeah, I know. Let's get this clip first, and then you can rebut.
Netwalega kuoana netwalega translation tumekataa hoya tumekataa kubebwa ujinga tumekataa sisi kama wamama wa Murang'a hoya wamama wa Mount Kenya heya kumekucha watu wasimio ndio kumekucha Mount Kenya we do not serve the same time. We do not operate under the same clock in this Kenya with the people of Mount Kenya. Ndio kwao kumekucha. Ndio wamejua kumbe walibeba ujinga. Sasa wamama wameamua kuimba tu polepole bila uniform ya yellow from head to toe. Bila rabas za yellow, bila boshori za yellow na masweta. Tumekataa kubeba ujinga tumekataa kubeba ujinga natabu naibu mnakuja kutulilia huku tufanyaje mnatuambia mmekataa kubeba ujinga tuwasaidie na si mlisema tunawasikilia wifu kwani sasa ndio kumekucha ndio mumeamuka mkalia rais hamuna uniform hamuna torafa Tagaso. Kama wewe ni mama wa Mount Kenya na uko na 50 years and above, hatukutaki kwa debe 2027. We are going to teach you a lesson. We will punish you people. Sisi watu wasimio. Afadhali hata nizoe watoto watano sahi. Hiyo siku ikifika watakuwa na kitambulisho. Tutoke. People boycotted to vote. But 2027, trust you me, the people of Mount Kenya, we will punish you mercilessly. Anyways, ndio mumeamuka? Nenda wakea hii? Ndio mumeamuka, si ndio? Mumekataa, hoya, mumekataa kubeba ujinga, mumekataa. Hata mnaibu mnakuja kutulilia hapa. Mimi sina ya monyonyi. Hatuna monyonyi online. Si tena wababa wenyu walisema wanamuka mapema wakamutoe. Mukiamuka mukamutoe, mchunge msitupate watu wasimio tukirudi tumuweke. Tukifikiria vibaya hivi, tutake kuwapunish. I told you the people of Asimio, the land of, we live in Kisumu, in Luo, Nyanza. We live in the land of milk and honey. We eat well, we live large, luxurious life. Mimi hata nataka munilipie ndege, niende Dubai nikasherehekee kwa sababu hii ni sherehe kubwa sana. Anyway, how do I look? Jeshi ya baba. Maziwa baba. Agwambo Kisumu City. Siko hapana. Sijapata mtu. Kwa mama, hii nimeenda sinaga ubaya.
That is what I'm saying now. Sasa hiyo ndio kitu nawaambia, hatuna huruma na tutawaambia, na raundi hii tutawafundisha, na kama mtafundika tutawa-isolate.
Ayaka cool it. Thank you. Olela TV anasema this lady is both Luo and Kikuyu. I said. So I wanted that to play first before Mr. Guru can respond. Go ahead, sir.
First, let me say that girl has been really been laughing at the Atupagwingwi generation. Her videos are always an education of sorts, and also they are comical. Utacheka mpaka unaanguka. However, her messages are cutting, and they are appropriate for people to understand what they are confronting. Banayanga, I take with all humility the criticism that you have brought to this forum, and on behalf of my community, we carry the burden that these are issues we tried to educate some of them, those we could reach, but they never listened. But today, when we tell them, you see what we are telling you, they can only, bow their heads in shame. Others will not want to entertain that talk because of the deep frustration that they are going through. Others will just say, okay, maybe things will be better. And you can only sympathize, but then we are telling them, you see, we are going to carry that burden, all of us, even those who tried to show the other side of politics. It's unfortunate, like you have said, we normally fought to punish. Ni kama tunataka kudhihaki mtu, kama uchaguzi uliopita ilikuwa ya kudhihaki Uhuru Kenyatta sana kwa sababu ya kuleta Raila Amolo Odinga kwa mlima. Sasa the worst part of it, and what makes some of us who understand politics feel the pain, is that politics is about settlements, is about compromises. Uhuru had negotiated a deal for the people of Mount Kenya, and because Baba is a nationalist, he had seen the argument that Uhuru had made, that there are pockets of this country that are suffering because of huge population and unequal allocation. By the way, it is not just central. There are parts of, I think, Bungoma, Kakamega, parts of Kisumu that also have that problem, that the people are more than what they should actually get. But it is more heavier. That problem is heavier in parts of central Kenya and the towns where this community is domiciled, like Nairobi, Nakuru, and others. So he knew what he was doing. However, because of the nature of our politics and the way we play politics, our opportunistic politicians harped on the hatred and the rhetoric against one Raila Amolo Odinga to convince the community that BBI was about giving power to Raila, and with the Kenyatta being part of that structure. And therefore, they outrightly rejected the political settlement that had been done. So the other day, I asked one of those I was trying to convince, I asked him, you see what things are happening now? Even those who are fighting BBI are actually now asking for it. It is too late. I told him it is too late and we can only depend on the magnanimity of Raila again with his people, because these things will have to get back to parliament and be voted for and accepted and passed. So if Raila wants to punish, quote unquote, the region, the Mount Kenya region, it's just to say when that matter comes, fought against. And that's it. The status quo will remain. And it is going to be like that. But it is painful to say so, coming from the Mount Kenya region. But that is the reality of politics. So, by everybody making himself knowledgeable in Mount Kenya to a point whereby a standard 8 border rider cannot listen to somebody who has gone and seen things out there, has more experience, has more knowledge, anasema hapangwingwi, then things end up very badly. Who do you blame? Who do you blame? So it is true, Ayanga. What you have said is exactly true. What that lady has said is true. And not unless the community of Mount Kenya changes their attitude and the way of approaching politics, we are going to suffer for quite some time to come. The game has just started. That's all what I can say for now.
Okay, the game has just started. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for continuing to follow the conversation. We are on Sound Candid Talk TV. That's YouTube, Sound Candid Talk Facebook page. And of course, we want everybody to move here. We'll be here for several days before we go back to our usual channel. So remind somebody that the conversation is already on. And there's a poll we are running on the YouTube channel, and that is the calls for Ababu Namwamba to resign, fronted by the boss Shulei and, of course, Gerard Gay, the notorious one. So the question you're asking is Ababu Namwamba to blame for the deaths at Mashujaa Day, Kericho Green Stadium. So far, 26 people have cast their vote. And of the 26 that have cast their vote, 31 say yes and 69 say no. So please, 69%. So 31% yes, 69% say no. Thank you for being part and parcel of this. Please, let's keep the conversation going. And it's our civic duty to see to it that we don't let the conversation of this country be run by liars, by crooks who would want to deceive the public when things are falling apart. No doubt that this country is not where it's supposed to be, and the people in charge of the country seem not to know what to do. And so let's keep going as we talk and, of course, teach each other. Okay, Olele TV anasema Bernard, kuna jamaa fulani Mbaluya anaitwa David Wafula anaeneza propaganda za UDA kwa YouTube. Tafuta yeye tumuulize maswali. He will not even try it. I know him. He was a UDA blogger even during the election. So he's continuing with his payroll. Such people suspend their thinking. So you can't even help him, bring him here. He will always, find himself either angry or insulting because he has nothing to say to defend the undefendable. Let me see. I think there's a clip I should play before we can go further. Sorry. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen to this one as we
around the world, and we saw what impact that has on food prices, on fuel prices, whether it's the Russian war in Ukraine affecting grain prices dramatically. It's causing inflation across the African continent and making things so unaffordable. And of course, it creates a huge debt burden. We're also seeing on our doorstep here in the region, in Israel as well. How closely are you watching these events? Because when these events happen, it has a spillover economically, and it takes our eye off the ball in terms of achieving our climate goals.
Well, COVID pandemic, the war in Ukraine, what's happening in Gaza and Israel, all these are really unfortunate situations, especially in a world where we are facing a climate catastrophe. And what has it done to us? Increase the prices of fertilizer, increase the prices of grain. Cost of living is a challenge. And cost, a ripple effect on what we already are facing, the effects of climate change. And therefore, we would do a lot well if we were, as human beings, be able to think about how do we resolve these issues? How do we deal with the challenges of conflict? I mean, and in the particular situation, I don't think there is any justification for any loss of life. For example, in Kenya, we have suffered the brunt of struggle for independence, the same way the Palestinians are doing. We have also suffered the challenge of terrorism, the same way Hamas visited terrorism on Israel. Both are wrong. We need to find a solution that respects human sanctity of human life. And I think the sooner we get to a table and discuss these issues, we can never get a solution through the power or the barrel of the gun. I think we need to resolve these issues because it's hurting us. It is hurting those of us in the global south. And the one thing I would want to say that the globe must listen to us is it is not possible anymore to do something at the corner and expect that it doesn't affect other parts of the world. Yeah. Just the same way, we have a huge demographic dividend in Africa. We have big population of young people, learned, creative, innovative. Unless we have inclusive growth, either we invest in exploiting renewable assets that are in abundance in our continent, use it to grow, to smelt bauxite, use it to add value to our iron ore, create jobs in our continent, you will never stop the wave of migration. It doesn't matter how high walls you build. Yeah. It doesn't matter what regulations on immigration you put. It's an exercise in futility. We have a global village. We have one home we share. We better live together because this is what it is.
Mr. President.
And that is why we have walked away
a round of applause
from the North versus South issue, because we have one world and we need to realize that that's what it is.
What do you make of that?
As usual, puppets. Puppets, whenever he goes, he try to make things look like is a good man. Ruto is good in propaganda. You cannot be in a position where you defend Israel and you oppose, you defend Palestine, the Hamas at the same time, because look at that statement. It's just trying to justify that when we were struggling for independence, the Mau Mau was branded a terrorist. And after we have gained independence, we also face the terrorists from Al-Shabaab. So it's trying to justify that Hamas is fighting for their independence and Israel is facing the terror. I don't think that's a good president. And Ruto is a West puppet. Look at the first statement he made. The first statement he made when this thing happened. He was fully behind Israel, and he never even favor the Palestinians and the people. So it is a guy who is thinking afterthought. Yani, he talks before he thinks. And when he goes outside there, because now he's in Saudi Arabia, and now he wants to please the Arab world, he's now taking another stand. I think that thing interfere with our China relation. He was in China the other day, and he only went to have pictures with Xi Jinping. They never signed any bilateral direct from a president to a president. But we saw an Ethiopian president signing with Xi Jinping. I think we need a stand. We need a stand. And the stand that Uhuru Kenyatta left us on was a very good stand, where we are non-allied. We are not allied to any, either the West, because this Cold War between USSR and USA and the West, it is something that will not end now. Even with the war of Hamas, you will see the West, the USSR side, which is the Soviets, the likes of China, Russia, Iran, they will always back Hamas. And the United States and the West will always back Israel. Same to the war in Ukraine. That thing will always be there. And I think as a state, we need to take a stand. Let us be non-aligned. Those are non-issue for us. Though, yes, it will affect us economically, but we need not to take a stand. Let us go Uhuru Kenyatta way. If something is wrong, condemn what is wrong. If something is right, praise what is right. But we will not have a president that at one time you are pro-West until you want even to send our policemen to Haiti, where United States ran away. The place United States cannot even send their military. They can send their gadgets to Israel, a very far away, and Haiti is on their doorstep. They cannot send naval to contain the situation. We need a president that take a stand. I will not have a president that want to kill two birds with one stone at a time. It making Kenya become a very slippery, because West might block us and East might block us, and we will find ourselves in a situation where even having a visa going to China or to Russia or other countries is a little bit tricky, though we trade with them. I think that is my time. My time is also up. Let me rest. Tomorrow we shall talk. Nguru will be with you.
So, asante sana Bwana Yaga. We will link up unless Mr. Guru has a question for you.
No, not particularly.
Okay. Sawa. And then Mr. Yaga will catch up later. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. Friday, mteja wako ulisemaje? Panga hiyo maneno utanambia.
Nitakwambia.
Okay, thank you. Let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen.
Unisikie. Siasa imeenda vile. Juzi nilivyokuwa nyumbani kwangu, iko mjumbe mmoja ya UDA alinitumia mimi message, akanitumia mimi ka video cha campaign yale alikuwa anasema katika campaign, na akanambia, sasa unasemaje? Nataka nimwambie kuwa katika upinzani sio kifo, my friend. Being in in opposition is not death sentence. Na nikamwambia huyo mjumbe, tafuta fala wa kutisha, lakini sio mimi, my friend. Tumeelewana? Tumeelewana? Na nikamwambia wewe kwanza ni mjumbe, mtu mdogo sana. Hiyo kazi nilifanya miaka 10 iliyopita. Huwezi ongea kitu mbele yangu. Tumeelewana? Na nawaambia wajumbe wa UDA wasitufikirie sisi wewe usicheze na sisi. Yaani vijidude vidogo vidogo vina mdomo wa kuongea kuliko hata bosi yao. Wao kiangalia mimi ni mtu wa kutishwa na mjumbe mimi. Ati mimi Hassan Ali Joho nitishwa na mjumbe wa UDA? Kwenda zako wewe mjumbe. Mimi niko Kenya. Kenya ni nchi yangu. Si hami. Niko hapa. Tutapiga siasa hapa Kenya na watajua hawajui. Watajua hawajui. Ubaya watu hawatujui sisi. Kuna watu wa kutisha na kuna watu huwezi kuwatisha, my friend. Tumeelewana paka hapo? So nataka niwaambie sisi hapa tuko imara. Tuko nini? Imara. Na nyinyi wananchi naomba muwe nini? Imara. Serikali ikiingia ina majukumu, sivyo? Lazima tuiangalie na tuikosoe pale ambaye wanakosea. Wakifanya vizuri tunawaambia hapo mmefanya vizuri. Wakifanya vibaya tunawaambia mmefanya nini? Vibaya. Ndio leo mimi nasema hapa nina furaha kwa sababu bandari imerudi. Tumeelezwa hivyo, lakini tunataka tuione ikifanya nini? Kazi. Jana nimeuliza watu wa bandari kama wameanza ile amri walipewa na rais juzi. Wakasema ati wanangoja formal communication. Mimi nawaambia tunawaangalia namna hii. Tulisema bandari irudi na imetangazwa huko Nairobi irudi, kwa hivyo irudi. Watu wetu wafanye kazi, sivyo? Tumekubaliana. Mimi naomba la mwisho kabisa, sisi wote kuanzia ndugu yangu Harub, speaker na MCAs wako, wajumbe walioko hapa, wafanyi biashara walioko hapa, my brother Said Bajaber na Mustafa, you'll mobilize the business community. Na sisi wananchi wote, tafadhali, siasa imeisha. Majukumu yetu ni sisi kuja pamoja tumsaidie gavana wetu apeleke Mombasa mbele. Tumeelewana paka hapo Mimi sitaki kusema zaidi hapa, lakini natoa shukrani sana. Natoa shukrani.
Okay, Mr. Guru, you can weigh on Ruto's statement and the other developments.
Yes, Bernard. You know, there is a thin line between terrorists and a liberator or freedom fighter. So it is very interesting to hear, on one hand, Ruto talking of Hamas as a terrorist, and then on the other, as Palestinians fighting for their independence. I don't know which side to take there, because that's a confused statement if you look at it and put it in a context. They cannot go in the same sentence. You are either neutral or you take one stand. He took an earlier stand where he condemned Hamas as terrorists. Now I'm surprised to hear him say that Palestinians are fighting for independence. That shows that our foreign policy is yet to be well developed to know what position to take when such matters arise. And it is not a very good thing for the country. A country needs to have a foreign policy that is predictable, not one that leaves people guessing. However, like Ayanga said, you can also decide to be non-aligned, like Kenya has been for many years, where you don't make any statement on matters of this nature. So you just leave it that way and just pursue your own interests. That's also a position. But non-aligned, it means you don't take sides. You just leave the matter that way. So for the various parties to sort their matters. So therefore, I find that statement rather interesting, if not absurd, especially because Ruto just came to power in about 1 year ago, and therefore he is now shaping the kind of policy, foreign policy that you would like to be identified with and his government. You are aware he made the vast brother in the first weeks of his presidency by refusing to kind of aligning himself with Morocco to deny a state that is fighting for liberation within the Morocco itself, which ended up being an embarrassment because he had to recall the statement again, and it did not look very, very good. So I think it is important to be guided in some of these matters, because sometimes they are very complex. Sometimes even you don't know which position to take, but that's why you have advisors, because they are the ones who will tell you, let's take this position because of these national interests that we have. But this does not seem to be the matter with Ruto right now, unfortunately. He's given to making statements out of turn, which end up being an embarrassment to himself and also to the country. You are aware that already we've, for the first time, you seeing people in the international capitals demonstrating against our country and calling Ruto a puppet. And these are things we were not used to there before. We never came into such headwinds in matters of international policies. So I don't know, he needs to organize himself on that department, because he doesn't seem to be doing very well in terms of articulating the national interests. I am particularly surprised when he goes opening our boundaries to every other country, Eritrea, Angola, which other one. And when you look at what we share with those countries in terms of trade and other interests, you find there is almost nothing. So I don't know how flooding this country with people from Eritrea and Angola and others, how it is going to impact on our welfare as Kenyans. Because essentially every country pursues its interests from others. You want to gain more from such relations. And mostly it is about trade and industry, education, culture, and so on. So I don't know. I don't know who is advising him on this, because he doesn't seem to be doing well. Just like on issues of economics, where we are told the economy is stabilizing, yet people are crying because of the deteriorating living standards, the lack of disposable income that can sustain livelihood. And yet you hear people right inside the government saying how the economy is doing well. And when you ask the person on the ground, every person is complaining that things have become worse than they were last year. So I don't know whether it is a double, it's a double-faced kind of a thing where you are east, but you are still in the west, and it doesn't work very well for the country. It doesn't.
Okay, he tactfully avoided the question. In my opinion, he did not answer the question. The question was about the cost of living back home. And he needed to explain why that is the case, not look or give excuses. Because the funny part is he talked about fertilizer, the high cost of fertilizer. When he's on record of having distributed fertilizer for 200 and what, 2,500. So was that high? And then that fertilizer still came from Russia. And then Russia is at war with Ukraine. So what is he telling the world? Does he think that the world doesn't know what he has been telling us? And now there he can play a hero of being Pan-Africanist and talking on behalf of Africa. William Ruto is a liar by nature. I could conclude comfortably say that. And he would do anything to lie. And then, of course, put it in so many stories that try to distract people from asking right questions. In that statement, I think was begging for those applause that the journalists squeezed from the people. But I look for points, block after block point, to say the reason why the cost of living is high in Kenya is because we moved our VAT from 8% to 16%. We mismanaged the economy to a level whereby our shilling lost ground against the dollar by over 30%. Okay? That is why the cost of living is high, the inflation is high, and the situation is not looking promising. The facts on the ground are mismanagement, and not the war in Ukraine, and not the war in the Middle East, and not fertilizer. Let's have this clip before we go further. Let me see this one.
Standing order. It allows a party or a coalition of parties that is not the minority or majority party to designate their leader, whip and deputy whip, upon recognition as a parliamentary party. Whereas the standing order notes that the whips of such party are appointed for purposes of the transaction of the business of the House, it is strikingly silent on the purpose to be served by having such a leader in the House. At the moment, I'm of the considered view that apart from creating unnecessary confusion, allowing the existence of a leader other than the leader of the majority party, or the leader of the minority party, would be an affront to the constitutional underpinning and recognition of the majority party and the minority party. Honorable members who served in this House before the promulgation of the current constitution and who are well versed with the parliamentary traditions bear testament to the fact that a party that is not the majority or minority party in a presidential system, or which is not in government or the official opposition in a parliamentary system, is normally afforded minimal facilitation by the House. At most, such a party is only entitled to a whip. Honorable members, before making my determination on this matter, I would like to draw the attention of the House to a press statement that was recently issued by the minority leader in company of his deputy on this subject. I shall not reproduce the contents of the statement made by the member for Ugunja, issued after the sitting of the House on Thursday last week because of their unpalatable nature. I will only note that it is unfortunate and highly regrettable that the leader of the minority party chose to publicly cast aspersions on valid parliamentary processes, even after he and his deputy had separately visited my chambers and held a very cordial discussion with me on this pertinent matter. Honorable members, the distinguished members ought to have known that unlike the previous court orders in this matter, which would be validated through the e-filing system, the order for dismissal was manual by the leader of the minority party. From our own records, there also existed doubt on whether the House was represented by counsel at the time the ruling was delivered. The leader of the minority party may have been unaware that I was only formally briefed on the developments of this matter on Thursday, 19th October 2023, upon verification of the status of the matter. It is incumbent upon me as your speaker to ensure that any adverse actions I take are valid, justified, and lawful, and in this respect I am enjoined to satisfy myself with regard to the authenticity of any. Honorable members, I expect the chief of the House to conduct themselves with decorum and respect for the high office that they have been entrusted with. In this regard, the conduct and statements attributed to the leader of the minority party, including the wild aspersions cast on the person of the speaker, leave a lot to be desired and are a stain on the privilege and prestige of the institution of Parliament. The speaker takes a very dim view of this kind of unproductive and unhelpful conduct. Honorable members, going back to the matter at hand, you will recall that my predecessor, Speaker Kenneth Marende, was faced with a similar situation in April 2009 during the 10th Parliament. At the time, President Kibaki had appointed his vice president as the leader of government business in this House, which prompted the then Prime Minister to write a letter to the Speaker appointing himself to the same position. This resulted in his ruling, honorable members, Speaker Marende broke the deadlock by adopting an interim measure that resulted in the chair of the House Business Committee being occupied by the Speaker. Additionally, the Speaker tasked the joint government chief whips to run the affairs of the government in the House and threw the ball back to the President and the then Prime Minister to solve the impasse. However, members, the Speaker will not shy away from the reality that two factions of the Jubilee Party are tearing each other apart and are unfairly dragging the Speaker into their wars of supremacy. However, to the extent that both factions collectively and separately have a stake in the conduct of parliamentary business, I'm inclined to exercise the powers conferred upon me by Standing Order Number 1 to facilitate the continuity of the business of the House until such a time as the competent authorities make a final determination with regard to the disputes relating to the affairs of the Jubilee Party. In summary, honorable members, I guide the House as follows: that there currently exists no bar against the decision made by the minority party to replace its deputy whip. Standing Order 20A5 requires the Speaker to convey a decision to replace a whip to the House. In this regard, the Honorable Mark Mwenje MP forthwith replaces Sabina Chege MP as the deputy whip of the minority party. That to give effect to the provisions of Article 36 of the Constitution on freedom of association and Article 38 of the Constitution on political rights, which confer upon each member of the House the right to determine which entities they wish to be associated with and right to make political choices. Order. The Jubilee Party is hereby recognized as a parliamentary party within the meaning of Standing Order 20A. This recognition does not in any way elevate it to or affect the status given to the majority party and the minority party by the Constitution and the standing orders. That consequently, the Honorable Sabina Chege, by virtue of the written support of 21 members out of 28 members of the Jubilee Party in the House, in the letter dated 13th June 2023, and on account of her having been the last officially recognized member of the Jubilee Party, forming part of the leadership, is allowed to perform in the interim the role of the whip of that party in the House. That the foregoing guidance is issued in the interim purely for purposes of facilitating the continuation of the business of the House until such time as the Speaker will be properly seized of the final determination of the matters relating to the Jubilee Party by the competent authorities. The House is accordingly guided. Next order.
Order number 8, the National Youth.
Finally, Sabrina Chege out, Mwenje in. Why is Wetangula invoking Marende into this affair? What was tricky about dismissing Sabina Chege and bringing Mwenje when they were already proposed by their political parties?
Bernard, the truth of the matter is this. There was a deliberate plan to dismantle Jubilee Party and have all the MPs cross the floor of the House. But things seem to have backfired, especially because one of the issues that is currently before the bipartisan team is that political parties have to be respected. Therefore, there is even threat that if that was not to be done, then the bipartisan talk would come to an end. They would not be concluded. And because there are bigger things that are carried in that bipartisan talk, I believe this is not a coincidence, and it had to be that way. Otherwise, given opportunity, Wetangula would have trained his abracadabra to continue in the status quo. But things seem to have changed in the last few days and made it untenable for him to continue to trample on what he should have done several months ago, because it is the role of the minority party to say who should be their whip. It has nothing to do with the speaker. He's trying to take work that is not his own. And because he seems to be being used by other forces, it has reached the end. He can no longer maintain the position he has maintained for several months. I heard him say that Kioni wrote to him very abusive and insultive letter that he cannot talk, expose in parliament. I can also only imagine what that was, because when you try to trample on the law, of course you expose yourself to ridicule and insults. And because facts are facts. He's a lawyer himself. He knows he's doing the wrong thing. There is nowhere where it is said that a speaker can force a political party to maintain this or the other person. His work is just to obey what the party has said. His role is not to solve disputes of political parties. So he's just come out as a stooge. In fact, it is unfortunate that he invoked the name of Marende. Marende was a respected man. He knew what to do when things got there, and because he was a honorable man, he followed the rules of the house and also the law to solve disputes. Unlike this one, who seemed to be being an appendage of the executive. You know, even when he made an interpretation about the majority and minority parties, there are things that did not go the right way. He played politics rather than stick to the letter and the spirit of the law. But that is better for you. Buy one, get another free. So mambo iko namna hiyo.
So, Mr. Guru, I think we should begin to call it a day. These political games, what's the end game? Does it appear that UDA and Kenya Kwanza are having the shorter side of the stick, or they still have a command in this matter? Because from the look of things, they are looking like they're the ones trapped with the dialogue, or Azmi is the one trapped with the dialogue. Unmute, sir. Unmute, Mr. Guru.
This is a double-edged sword. Why? Because, first of all, the government has to look for a way. And this, I believe, is the reason why they are sticking with the talks. They are aware that the political situation has not been very good. There is a very huge population of restless people, and that has been growing over the months. And therefore, there are people who are likely to be quickly mobilized. And there is no government which would want such a situation. And therefore, if it is bipartisan talk that can, assuage those fears and pacify the population, they are ready for it. They may even not be committed to the letter and the spirit of what is being discussed. On the other hand, Azimio has a stake in the talks. First of all, there are things they would want acknowledged and, if possible, action taken. But on the extreme side, I believe that some of the suggestions that were made are supposed to lead us to a referendum for them to take effect. And I believe that is what Raila Amolo Odinga would want with Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. So it is a tricky game where on one side, one wants to maintain a calm political environment, but on the other side, it is the other side would want to push this to the extreme end and take the battle to the people. Because if they manage that, then they'll have weakened this government completely. In the sense that we would have a replica of what happened in 2005. Because people will be going to give a verdict. The referendums naturally come out like people expressing themselves about the performance of a sitting government. And this is one thing I'm sure also Ruto would not want. So I don't know whether you have ever seen a situation where a cat meets with a snake and they are each looking at each other's eye. Who will strike first? That is the situation that is there between the two parties. And it is the wise who will get what they want out of the situation that we have right now. If one of them jeopardizes the talks, there is a likelihood to be a public backlash. Because, we came from a situation of almost conflict. And therefore, this was a resolution that we found. And people are waiting for the answers. Where do we move from here? There are those who are waiting for the servers to be opened. There are those who are waiting for the composition of the IEBC afresh. There are those who are waiting to see those other things, the cost of living. So I know there are those who may dismiss this quickly. And I would not want to support them. Because even as you see, what happened today could be that Ruto noticed if this thing collapses, and has collapsed because of a seat of a deputy chief, is it deputy chief whip or something? It could lead to something even bigger than they anticipated. So we would rather sacrifice, and many more are going to be sacrificed, Bernard. Look at those MPs who kind of defected. Do you think for the survival of the government, Ruto would not let them go? He would let them go very easily. If that is what can assure the perpetuity of his government or the stability, you just accept that they go back and seek fresh mandate. I am sure that you do very very easily. So each side has its own interests, but also it is a kind of ni kama it's timing each other, wanaangaliana macho, who will blink first. So if you happen to close your eyes for a few seconds, you might find that your part has been grabbed. So it's a very tenuous situation, very delicate, which I believe the other parties, other than the parties that are observing from the other side, and I think something will come out of it. It's only that we do not know the magnitude and the extent and all that.
Thank you, Mr. Guru. Now, looking at this keenly, Omolo, your gadget is not correctly configured. You need to get to allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera and the audio. Don't deny it control. Mr. Guru, I was asking, in case we end up with a referendum, do you see William Ruto surviving with that referendum? And then, of course, that referendum has a prerequisite. The prerequisite is we should have a working IEBC, which we don't have right now. So even if the deal has something to do with the referendum, Don't you see that William Ruto is going to hide into the fact that they are not commissioners?
Those are the kind of things I was telling you, where each side is having its guns, and you throw those guns very close to the chest. But also don't forget that in these agreements, they could even come with timelines, that by this time we have achieved this. By this time we'll have commissioners sworn in. By this time we are going to achieve this. There are several things there. Of course, they'll have to have timelines, because assuming those positions, there, some of them they are creating like prime cabinet position. Maybe they will say in the next 2 months the parliament will do this. The gender positions. Maybe in the next 4 months we should have enacted a law. And then there are those issues that go beyond the parliament, and which Kenyans brought forth. They will have to ask themselves then, what do we do with these ones? Do we disregard these views of Kenyans and assume they never happened? That is where the key issues are. Because you saw even community groups coming up with all manner of suggestions. Some saying they want counties, others saying, although I had one MP today, I think is MP for Mukoroini, Kagushia, saying take it to the bank, there will be no addition of counties, there will be no this or the other. But you see now, Bernard, don't also forget this. This could also spiral into something else. And this is what I think. Assuming today the issues that are adjudicated through the parliament are taken to parliament, and commissioners are appointed, and I think they should be appointed, because I think there are some constituencies and ones that need to do elections. So I believe that one they will do very fast. They have no option but to do it. There is also the boundary review. But beyond there, look at it this way, Bernard. There are already 10 million signatures that Azimio has in store. The moment the new commissioners come in, they will be there in the next week with their signatures, asking for a referendum. Are those commissioners going to throw away that? On what basis will they throw away such a move? I'm just giving you that Baba is playing the game ahead, too far much ahead. So it's not whether Ruto will agree to a referendum or not. It is whether the threshold required for such an exercise is met. They will have no option. And that, I think, is and you can imagine the country is in that mood where they would want to express themselves. So that's why I'm saying, don't just look at this matter within the confines of what they are doing. Look also beyond to see what the parties involved are doing outside the bipartisan talk. Because what could be born out of this bipartisan talk could spiral into something else, and more so the referendum. And I believe Raila has and Azimio, they have a right to move immediately. New commissioners have been appointed, and the signatures on the table for verification, with the argument that there were issues that were not handled by the bipartisan team, because they were essentially parliament driven, and then pick up those other matters. And you can imagine what will come out of that. I do not see any escape route for the government in such a matter comes that way.
Okay, now this one is a serious one because it appears that Kenya Kwanza did not see this coming, or rather, they have been overtaken by events in the sense that they had put their hurdles on the way, but they see it appears that all those hurdles have been jumped successfully, and there remains no more stopper to whatever way that they respond to this. They scuttle the talks is bad for them. They go through with the talks is bad for them. So how do they escape from this?
You know, there's something that most Kenyans have not appreciated. The man by the name of Raila Amolo Odinga is not called an enigma for nothing. And if it is not from his head, then he has very good advisors. He's running ahead of the game, and he's managed to put the government in such a trap that today, not unless now, like I hear, they could, start a resentment from the Azimio side, so that Azimio says they have, ran away from the talks. For them, it is very difficult to say that they have left the talks, the Kenya Kwanza side. That preserve is only for Azimio. They are the only ones who can run away from the talks, but not the government. That is the unfortunate thing. Because if they do run from the talks, then they will start a similar situation like the one we had before the talks. On the other hand, there are those who made fun out of the collection of signatures, the 10 million. But Baba came and said, let's keep these signatures. They'll have their time. He did not evaporate. And then you can see you can see these things are spiraling very fast, and especially the kind of situation we are going into. There is an issue of demarcation of boundaries. Demarcation of boundaries, Bernard, is very contentious across the country because you know how political it is, and therefore the politics will only get hotter and hotter as we go along. So the government is trapped. They have no option. They have to just stay in the talks, and maybe they hope maybe they can provoke the Azimio side to leave the talks, because they are the only ones who have that preserve to run away from the talks without major repercussion. But the government side can hardly now wake up and say we are no longer going for these talks. That will provoke something that the Kenya Kwanza government may not want. So whichever way, it's like a cornered rapid. So, but there are those who are also saying that a handshake took place some time back. That's what I heard Kanini Kega say, that the handshake already happened in Mombasa some time back. It's only that it was never exposed in the manner that Uhuru did last time with Raila. And therefore, we will just wait to see what will unfold as we go towards the end of this year. All these are speculations, or some of them we can only wait and see. But what I can tell you is this: the talks, the bipartisan talks, even if not within the bipartisan talk themselves, they have the potential to bear something bigger than Kenyans had expected. And it could lead us to a referendum that these people had not envisaged.
Okay, so the game is getting interesting with every passing time. And it appears that what we have seen is not anything yet. What is yet to unfold is when the real game will start. Very interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with the conversation, thank you so much for participating into our poll. Let me just give that verdict before we bring in Omolo to weigh on the matter. The poll is about Namwamba. Is Namwamba to blame for the death that took place on Mashujaa Day in Kericho Green Stadium? 35 people have cast their vote, and 26% say yes, he is responsible or is the one to blame, and 74% say no, he is not to blame. Interesting. Omolo vipi? Long time.
Long time sana Mr. Bernard. How are you?
I'm well. Karibu.
Asante sana na Bwana Guru.
Mm.
Yeah, nimekuwa nimepotea kidogo, but it is good to be back home. I just want
Karibu sana.
to
Get closer to your mic so that you are audible enough.
I don't know whether I'm audible enough. Am I loud enough?
Kuna ngoma fulani inacheza hapo. Italeta kizaza.
Inaleta kizaza?
Any form of music is not it will bring problem. You know, this is not our usual channel. Our usual channel, we're having issues with YouTube. So it's all about all those things. So kama ngoma inacheza, zima hiyo ngoma kwanza kama you are in control of it. If you are not in control of it, get far from it.
I think now is okay.
Carry on.
Yes, what I just wanted to comment ni kuhusu hii mambo ya Sabina Chege, and I think it is not something strange that it just happens. To my opinion, hii ni mambo ambayo inapangwa na ofisi ya deputy president, sababu ukiangalia ile karata inachezwa kutoka wakati Mudavadi akipatiwa portfolio ya kuona foreign affairs, it was not a coincidence because we all know what Mudavadi is capable of and what is not capable of doing. So him being given that docket of the foreign affairs, for which I know he has never even held since when he was young, but ndio sahii uzeni anakuja kupatiwa foreign affairs, unaona it is a kind of a game. So Sabina Chege pia kuja kutolewa ni kukata zile mizizi za Mount Kenya kurudi chini. Sasa Mudavadi naye sababu alikuwa na ile ofisi ya prime cabinet na anaweza kuleta threat in future, ikakuwa lazima akuwe curtailed, wacha arushwe nje, wacha azunguke Palestine, aende Ukraine, aende Malaysia, aende Thailand, huku ground kubaki wazi, ndio in future mtu mwingine awe amejitengeneza vizuri. So I think now the politics to watch now is the office of the deputy president. I think hizi ndio karata nyingi inachezewa hapo. Pia Mudavadi, Sabina Chege, hii yote ni kujaribu kukatain from 2027 to 2032, kuangalia kwamba 2027 kutakuwa pia kuna obstacle, sababu you know in politics you can never predict, maybe kesho game inaweza shift, so ikishift unakuwa kwanza what they call it kill them before they grow, you see. So when you already curtail Mudavadi and you already curtail those offices of Mount Kenya kwa parliament, mtu kama sasa Sabina Chege ambao unajua ako pande zote mbili, anaweza mara moja kupenya, but ukibaki na watu kama Kimani Ichung'wah, you know, the keyboard players hawana shida hawa, you know. So hii yote unaona kwamba ni strategy ya kuhakikisha kwamba kuna level ground ya kula ambao naelekea 27 na 2032. And when we go to the issue of Ababu Namwamba, I think sometimes we should call a spade a spade. Ababu Namwamba is a failure, to be honest. In all the documents that he go, the guy is a hell of a joker. He has never been serious with his work. Yeye mwenyewe utaendaje kupokea stadium ambao unajua kwamba iko incomplete? Hata kama ni nyumba yako kweli, ungeweza kucommission hiyo stadium hiyo. Yeye mwenyewe ni lack of competency. Kwanza angeenda mwenyewe akasema kwamba this stadium haijafika kiwango ya kutumiwa in any event, not even in sports or to host any event, you know. But yeye pia anachukulia vitu rahisi, ndio unaona kila mahali anaenda. Hata wakati wa Uhuru Kenyatta pia he was shaking. So I think he should the one to carry the blame, and if we were living in a developed decent country, the honorable thing he needed to do is just to resign, because in Kenya we don't value life. That is why unaona watu wanaenda maandamano, wanauawa, watu wanaenda wanakufa kwa sababu ya upotevu wa serikali, na tunaona kwamba it is nothing, you know, until when we learn to respect value of life in this country is when we will get serious leadership, and also the citizen will know about the good governance. Huwezi kuniambia watu wamekufa alafu anachukua kama kuku out of ignorance ya mtu ofisini. So Ababu Namwamba is to be blamed. Yeye ndiye ako in charge, si mtu mwingine. Yeye ndiye anafaa kupeana recommendation. Hiyo sherehe kwanza ilikuwa ina ulazima gani fanyiwe Kericho, you know? So hata kama mkubwa wake alitaka ipelekwe huko, lakini yeye ndiye alikuwa apeane recommendation, ambapo hata saizi angekuja kujidefend aseme no, this is the report that I gave, that stadium cannot be used, lakini nililazimishwa, at least angeweza kuji-exonerate. So he should take his responsibility 100%. That is my opening shot.
Saguru,
I don't agree with some of what Amor is saying in some of the aspects. Particularly, he's given a very high rating to Sabina. Sabina is a political lightweight, even from where she's coming from. It's only that it's like a balloon that had been pumped with air by Baba, that she could become a deputy president. But today, go and try to engage even young Kikuyus about her. You hear what statements they'll make about her. She's roasted, and that's a fact. It's not somebody you can take seriously, and she has no political. In fact, she runs the risk of ending her political career very early. That's a sad thing. So I don't agree that anatolewa kwa sababu she can become of anything or disrupt any political arrangements in the central Kenya, Mount Kenya particularly. She's a nobody. Of course, right now I've heard somebody like Moses Kuria saying that what is happening to Kawira Mwangaza is about Rigathi trying to create a kingpin to elevate himself into a kingpin, meaning you would want somebody who is compliant in Meru becoming a governor to assist, perhaps to assist him become acceptable as a that's what Moses Kuria says. Maybe not, but I think although the people of Central were put in a situation that they were not in ever experienced in the past several years, I don't think they are that daft as not to see who can and who can't. So I think the true leaders are going to emerge. By 2027, I think this community will have made up its mind. The next person who is going to become the so-called kingpin. And I don't think it is Rigathi, the way things are right now. Of course, he's trying very hard to push himself with the argument that he is the senior most in government. But the kind of trust that the community gives a person like Uhuru has nothing to do with the position that he had in government. There are certain qualities that the community looks at, and in most cases, these leaders emerge at a time of crisis. So any leader today, any person who wants to emerge strongly, right now the community seems to be in a state of uncertainty. It is likely that this uncertainty, this restlessness could produce a kingpin by 2027.
Could produce what by 2027?
A person who could easily replace the position of Uhuru as one key person who is respected widely by the communities around Mount Kenya. But that person is not will not come from a compliant person. It must be somebody who has gone out of the way at a time when the community is feeling restless and rudderless in which next step to take.
Okay. What do you make of the Mainanjenga is not something small anymore nowadays?
Maina is a very interesting fellow, and I think he's more of a front for very many for certain political forces. It's like the John the Baptist. Yes, I can assure you there is a very big force behind there, and it could be what will culminate into what I'm talking about now.
Why would he be targeted by Gachagua specifically?
You know, he has the mobilization abilities, especially among the youth. The so-called hustlers easily accept him, and even those who may not have known him in the past, you know, he has that ability to bring young people around him. Of course, he's not a very young man also, but he has a background with quite a number of them. So through those ones, he is able to get more on his side. In fact, I think today is the most strong mobilizing force for the youth, especially among the Kikuyu, other than outside now the elected leaders. If you find somebody like Kanini Kega has to breed with him to talk to pacify the crowd so that he can address them. So you can now see, but for me, I see him as a forerunner. I see him as as John the Baptist.
Very interesting, very interesting. Omolo, you have sema unasemaje?
Yes, kwanza nataka kumkumbusha Guru rafiki yangu kwamba Mount Kenya have been orphans for very long time. Tukienda katika history, they have never had a leader from Mount Kenya. Wale wamekuwa nayo wote ni diluted. When you look at the history of Jomo Kenyatta, he was not a real rooted Kikuyu. Ukiangalia history ya Mwai Kibaki, also DNA yake pia, it was questionable. Now when we come to Uhuru Kenyatta has never been a kingpin of Mount Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta, he was just a quick fix plan. You know, when Kibaki was exiting, they were trying to, look around and they needed a quick fix. And that is why, wakina Michuki, they just had to hide that plan sababu Uhuru Kenyatta is someone of means na ilikuwa ni rahisi sana kujuza because akona means na akona jina. And that is why they use him as a quick fix. And to be honest, ukiangalia Uhuru Kenyatta saizi, if he was a real kingpin of Mount Kenya, hata saizi angekuwa yeye bado ndiye anatoa direction. But you see, along the way, he lost a grip somewhere. People are saying, oh, because he deferred with Ruto. No. Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa tu ana expire kivyake because it was just a quick fix plan. Okay. When you come to Sabina Chege, the reason why you were saying kwamba Rigathi Gachagua is afraid of Sabina Chege, not because on the ground, lakini that position in the parliament, akiwa kama deputy minority whip, right? Bado anaweza kuwa na influence, akatumia hiyo power na kuweza kurali. Unajua ile power katika parliament when you have, unaweza kutumia vizuri na uka drive agenda yako ingine. So ile kitu Rigathi Gachagua hataki kusikia ni mtu wote ambaye anaweza kuwa na influence within any arm of government anywhere mwenye anatoka Mount Kenya region. So you have to make sure kwamba amekat off kila mahali. Ukiona hata Moses Kuria pia alikuwa shifted. I don't think it was the brain of President Ruto kumtoa katika trade. That was also the brainchild of Rigathi Gachagua because Moses Kuria was becoming so powerful in that ministry, and he was very vocal. So Gachagua needed somewhere at least that he cannot be vocal. Lakini sasa hapo pia amemweka, bado atamuondoa. And that is why Moses Kuria alisema hata hapa bado mmemweka, kesho mtakuja kupiga kelele because hapo pia iko sensitive. Uliona juzi vile aliwika huko NYS. So na hapo tena ametupwa. So Moses Kuria ni labda angetupwa kama ni tourism huko. Bana alikuwa pia Mudavadi pia hapa inamletea threat. Sababu karibu ana compete katika power hiyo ya deputy na hiyo prime. So the guy is not comfortable. When you come to Maina Njenga now is the real definition of a kingpin of Mount Kenya. Maina Njenga, yes, we know that he cannot buy to be president. But I tell you, any direction that Maina Njenga takes, that is the direction of Mount Kenya. As of now. When the quick fix Uhuru Kenyatta was being modeled, mtu mwenye alitengeneza Uhuru Kenyatta was Maina Njenga. If you want to know, in 2007, wakati kulikuwa na shida, wakati Uhuru akienda kwa address wale wa Kikuyu pale wakiwa na mapanga, ni nguvu ya Maina Njenga alitumia. Believe it or not. So mine and Jenga have been in that mountain for quite long time. Now, any time that you hear word Mungiki coming out, is not just the word Mungiki. It is a threat of mine and Jenga. You know? Wakati unasikia ati kwamba we want to fight sijui Levi, sijui Bangi Mountain. That is the war of mine and Jenga. You see? That they want to target this group, targeting. So mine and Jenga now, any leader that unasema atakuja kujitokeza 2027, I'm telling you, take it to the bank. Without the blessings of mine and Jenga, that leader is going nowhere. Take it or leave it.
So, Vanomolo, you are talking with wherever with conclusion, okay?
Yes.
On a matter that leaves a lot to be desired, and the kind of evidence you are giving also is not convincing, okay? We don't deny that Mainanjenga has influence. But him rising to the level of the Mount Kenya kingpin is a different ballgame altogether. In the sense that the decision of who becomes the kingpin is not taken, it is given. That is the tradition of Mount Kenya. That means we'll have Mwangi wa Iria, we'll have Kabogo, we'll have Kabando, we'll have Munya, we'll have all these key people, okay? There is the Mreithi, the former Laikipia governor, Laikipia Nyandarua, okay? Key leaders. But among them, the decision makers of Mount Kenya have a say in it. That's why Gachagua is struggling right now. He happened to get a national office that he has defeated him to function as a national leader. He's busy begging for regional leadership. Meaning without that regional leadership, he cannot even enjoy his national office. And the elders have been quiet on the same. And as long as the elders are not saying anything, he can make noise, run around, go to Meru, go to Kirinyaga, and all over until the elders have given the okay. Hakuna kitu inaendelea. Mr. Guru, what are you saying? Ngoja Guru anala kusema kwanza.
I want to tell Omolo, we are born, raised in this community. And when we speak from a point of authority. With Uhuru, how Uhuru came to be accepted widely is because of the role he played when the community was in great danger. And he did not just pick himself up. He was appointed by the capital holders. He was told, you are a young man, you have the means, we will also facilitate you to make sure this problem that has come to our community is mitigated. Of course, he used the likes of Maina as foot soldiers. I will not elaborate further than that. However, the acceptance of Uhuru came out of that fact that he was able to stand in at a point of crisis, and his efforts were clearly demonstrated. And therefore, even right now, what is eating into this community is that they are starting to remember that when they were in great danger, there is a man who stepped in for them. In fact, there are those asking, if the same happened today, who would step in and sacrifice in the manner that Uhuru did. So this is not something that just happens out of the blue. So when you heard Michuki pronounce Uhuru as the person who will lead the community, it was not just out of turn. It is something that had been spoken somewhere. The reason why Gachagua is having a problem is because he does not have the capital holders in this community. I saw last week he tried to call some of them somewhere in Nyeri. Easy mchezo bwana. The community is divided into three. There is Itonga, those are the rich men, Adhamaki, Nanjama, ama the young men who in the traditional sense were traditional sense were warriors. So these are not simple things like the ones I'm seeing you talking here. So when I tell you Maina is just a front, just accept it that way. He is even his role just reaches there. He's a foot soldier.
Okay, thank you. Point made. I would want to remind Omolo that remember 2013? Was it 2013? Yes. Yes, when Kalonzo had run against Raila Odinga in the other 2007, and it was out after a fallout. Then they were to work together in 2013. But what happened? Kalonzo did not go to Nyanza. It was Mudama who went to Nyanza and said, I will bring Kalonzo. So when Guru is talking about it's a forerunner, okay, there is a backup that is behind him. And that backup has a preferred candidate. But because they are bushes and murky waters, remove the murky water first, then we present our prince. So, and from the look of things, that prince is not hidden. I don't want to talk too much. Let's do this. Let's do this in the interest of time. We are already on the third hour and we need to close. Tupatie mama aongee kwanza, alafu Omolo and then Guru tufunge. Mami, how are you today?
I'm good, Bernard. How are you?
I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Thank you.
Yes.
It's like we didn't inform you in good time. We had issues with our usual channel.
Yeah.
So after last night's show.
That's what I was wondering. We are like on the side show, not in the middle where we usually be. Anyway, thank you for even putting me on the side and then we are together again. Asanteni sana na kusalimia Bernard, nasalimia Guru, nasalimia Omolo na kila Mkenya pahali popote ako. Mimi niko salama, najikaza tu. Nasikia nafuu kidogo lakini bado nimekazwa, but I'm believing I'll be okay in the coming near future. So nimesikia Molo anasema habari ya Kingpin. You know, Kingpin, whatever they will be, whichever side, Kingpin does not even work hard to have been picked. Is already picked. Ni mtu ako na influence, ni mtu ako na wave ambayo analetea watu, na watu wakisikia tu hivi, all of them wanakuwa na msisimuko wa mwili and believe that is the right person. Surely you don't have even to work hard to be a kingpin. Once a kingpin is mentioned. However, how many they are, there will be only one. Hata hakuna kuwa staggered. So for now, we may see so many people coming up. But there is one thing I don't want Kenyans to forget. You can't have a kingpin who is buying people. That's not a kingpin. That's just a jambazi somewhere. So when we cannot talk about Gachagua, cannot even be an element in the list of those people who we may think about being a kingpin. No, nothing. And we have other jambazis just around. Mimi hata nilikuwa nasikia ugonjwa mkubwa sana zaidi ati nilikuwa nasikia ati huyu jambazi Ruto ati alikuwa anataka awe kingpin wa Central. I'm just asking myself, why are Central reducing themselves to this small item? Why are they reducing themselves this much? We have our guys who are really just under the water, just trying to see what is happening, because we have strong people in our Central and people who can stand and tell us something and we can listen. People who have got not about money or whatever, because actually the problem we have in Kenya right now, people when they see somebody stand in front of you, you just wanna know huyo ni tajiri sana, huyo lazima tumweke pahali fulani. Let me tell you, that is where people are failing. And I'll give an example of one guy, I don't know where he was, yule alitembea na punda na akachaguliwa. I congratulate that location, that county, whichever group that elected that guy. I give him. Bernard, please don't close before I come back. Let me take this call, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Omolo, ulikuwa unasemaje?
Kwanza nilikuwa nataka kukubaliana na Guru. I think we are speaking the same language. That is what I was saying. Kwamba tunakubaliana kabisa kwamba Maina Njenga is a foot soldier, is a general. Huwezi kupanda mlimani bila kusukumwa na foot soldier Maina Njenga. Kwa hivyo tunakubaliana kabisa. So hata ule mtu ambaye atajitokeza bila kukuwa na watu wa mkono, na mtu wa mkono mkubwa kwanza ni Maina Njenga. Then also about Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm glad that he agreed kwamba he was not a kingpin. He is somebody that he was a quick fix. Wakati kulikuwa na turbulence huko, mtu mwenye alikuwa na means, alikuwa na resources, akakuwa sasa ni yeye, unaona, na akatumiwa kusaidia kusuluhisha hiyo matatizo. And sababu pia wale wale watu ambao wana control huko walikuwa wanaona mtu ambao ataweka mali zao zikuwe safe was only Uhuru Kenyatta, and that is why they opt for him. Uhuru Kenyatta is not a self-made king. He was molded. He's not a self-made king. When you talk of Baba was not, spoon-fed. Ni mtu ndiye alitoka kwa family ya utajiri, but alijitengeneza mwenyewe kukuwa king. Ruto pia we cannot hatuwezi kusema kwamba tunajua kwamba he work hard akajitengeneza pia kuwa kingpin wa Rift Valley, even though alipata support kidogo ya Moi, but he work hard. Lakini wana mtu kama sasa Uhuru, yeye he did not work anything, just find himself there. So and I want to respond kidogo vile mama alikuwa amesema kwamba alisikia vibaya watu wakisema kwamba Ruto ndio kingpin wa Mount Kenya. I will disappoint her kwamba it is true and that is the reality. Kwamba Ruto ni kingpin wa Mount Kenya. And all this problem ambayo inatokea Kenya, it is because of Mount Kenya. That is what they chose.
Excuse me, Omolo. You seem to be carrying forward things that don't have roots. When did Ruto become kingpin of? When did Ruto become kingpin of Central?
Thank you. Let me correct it. I'm not saying in bad faith, but what I'm saying is, you know, we perceive that way, the bitter loot that they feel we do not get the right governorship in this country. We all blame him
Sorry?
because the country that is feeling we did not get a
Yeah,
right.
your audio is bad. Please take care of your audio first. You come back and I can't hear your words properly.
Is it clear now?
No, just correct it. I think talk alafu rudi. You are not audible at all. I can't get your words properly. So let's have Mama continue as you work on your audio. Thank you. Mami, take it please.
Asante Bernard, and I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, uko sawa, endelea mami.
Asante. As I have come back, I know I left somewhere like I was talking about that guy who used punda na akachaguliwa kwa sababu alionekana ni mtu mwenye hekima na heshima. Ni mtu ambaye anaweza simamia watu na kuwaelekeza kwa njia mzuri. Because most people in Kenya have been motivated with money or seeing somebody is rich. So that is the right of a person who is rich to have this chair. We have reduced ourselves to nothing, actually. I would say that because unaacha mtu mwenye ana maana kwako kwa sababu hana kitu, lakini unaweka mtu ambaye ati akona kitu ambaye anaenda kukunyanyasa. So what I'm saying about Kenyans, mumejiumiza kwa kufikiria mambo makubwa ya mtu kabla hajaingia pahali mnamweka. Ati mnaona huyo akona mali ndio anatakiwa kuwa pale. Kwa nini huyo mbaya ni mnyonge, akona neno safi, akona hekima na heshima yenu, msimpatie hiyo kiti hata yeye afike basi pahali atafika? Because I saw something that Kenyans were saying. Ati maskini unampea kiti ataenda kukula yote, hata shiba, hata wapatia. Right now, Kenyans, right now, you elected whoever you elected. What are you getting? People who cannot even get full. They are always spending. And they don't even care about you. They are still running. Na uangalie hao watu juzi saa ile waliingia kwa hizo viti vile walikuwa. And you give me a picture for them before and after. You see how they look like. Hakuna haja ya mtu kupewa kiti ati kwa sababu yeye ni tajiri. First of all, put utajiri mbali sana. Mali ya mtu yaweke mbali sana. However hard he has worked or she has worked, put it away. Weigh the person. Ile maneno huwa anasema na vitendo zile anatenda. Because it is mostly hard for somebody ambaye anaongea hekima na amekuwa hivyo kwa sababu mnamjua. Kwa sababu mtu hachaguliwi ati mtu ako Eldoret anachaguliwa na watu wako Machakos. No, anachaguliwa na wale watu wanamjua kijijini chao. Kwa hivyo wanamuelewa, wanajua maisha yake, wanajua heshima yake, wanajua vitendo zake na hata tabia yake. Na kwa hivyo hiyo yote ikishikana pamoja, you know the right person to elect. Now, when I'm talking about a kingpin ni mtu tu anaweza simama na watu wote wasikie kabisa huyo tumemuelewa na accept. However, when Odhiambo is saying that Ruto is a kingpin ati kwa sababu kulifanyika makosa ama nini, kingpin wa wapi? How can you be a kingpin in the whole world, in the whole country? Because that is how Ruto is putting himself, like he want to be kingpin everywhere. What is the jurisdiction of a kingpin? Where does a kingpin come from, originate from? Ni nini anajua kuhusu hiyo clan ambayo anaenda kuingia kuwa kingpin? Ni nini anaelewa habari ya hao watu zaidi ndio awe kingpin? If I'm not wrong, may people correct me. I believe kingpin is somebody who really understands about who he is standing for. All those people, he understands what they do, what they believe, what they want, and all that kind of a thing. I'm not a tribal person, but I would say this. How can he be a kingpin in Kalenjin land, and then he become a kingpin in Kikuyu land? How does he divide himself? How does he get there? Odhiambo, just tell me. You want to tell me that Raila can be a kingpin in Nyanza and become a kingpin in Central? Is that what you are talking about? Let's respect the name kingpin, and let's not even be propagandists. Let's be genuine and put things into the right perspective. Kwa sababu lazima tueleze watu wazi, tujue ni aje. First of all, Uhuru hajaachilia hii kingpin yake. Ruto amekuwa kingpin sangapi? How can he be over a kingpin? In which way? Has it ever happened? Hata apate mali ipangwe kutoka hapa mpaka mbinguni. You cannot be a kingpin because of money. What there is, you deserve it just right from the people accepting. Lakini huwezi kuwa unahonga watu, unapita pandi hii kama vile tu aliiba election, ati na sasa anakubali yeye ati ni kingpin na ni president na ni kila kitu, because that is what he is confusing people in the whole country. We are not going to accept this. He is not going to be a kingpin where there is a kingpin. Huyo ni uchokozi in the highest order. He has to respect people wherever they are coming from. And if he wants to have peace, he should have a perimeter where his kingship reaches, so that from there somebody else is a kingpin of that area. I don't believe one minute that Uhuru has left his kingship of the Central. Na kama ameacha ni kuachishwa kwa mdomo, si kwa acts. It hasn't happened. So what we are trying to say here, Jenga could be on the ground as a foot soldier, a very good organizer, aiming. I'll stop there. I won't complete that sentence. What I wanted to say, mahali popote tunaishi, kuna kuwaga na wazee wengi na wamama wengi. And in fact, unaona kuna mzee mmoja ambao wazee hata wale wengine wanasema hapana, mzee fulani ndio ataongea kwa sherehe fulani. Mama fulani ndio ataongea kwa sherehe fulani. How does that happen? It's because people understand the integrity of that person, the respect, the decency of that particular person. And that is how it happens in all ways. Look at how Kenya now. We got the wrong president, the fake one. That is why people are crying day and night. Because this was not the right person to be in our country as a president. If he was, what we are seeing, I don't know where it would be coming. And if it would have happened, and we have been mentioning here in this Sound Candid, hata kama tulichagua mtu ambaye ndiye aliingia, in fact naanza kufanya tabia kama zile tunaona, we still could complain. We are not saying that we could have kept quiet ati kwa sababu ni sisi tulimchagua. We elect somebody to go and execute the right duties for a president. We don't elect him just to go to be reckless, ama aende achezee mali zetu, ama kutuchezea maisha yetu. No. So even if we elected Raila, and he behaved the way this Jambazi is behaving, the same things will be happening against him. So don't think we are talking about Raila because we would just sleep and lie down and let him do whatever he wants. No. We are electing mtu ambaye anaonekana ako na mwelekeo mwema kuhusu nchi ya Kenya. Lakini sio mtu ambaye siko hatukumchagua. Okay, ameiba huo uchaguzi. And we have said it here again. Ati huyu mtu hata kama hatukumchagua, kama angeingia na awe na tabia ya heshima na aendeleze kazi ya nchi vizuri, we would have been comfortable. Hiyo complaint ya kusema hatukumchagua, hakuchaguliwa, ni kuiba liiba, we would forget it. But ona vile anatesa watu. Ona vile ameharibu kila kitu in the country. Imekuwa paralyzed. So about what we are talking about, kingpinship, hiyo tuweke kando. Uhuru wetu ako tu, na hatuwezi kuwekelea mtu mwingine juu ya hiyo. Ni yeye anajiwekelea kwa sababu ya hiyo kivuli ako nacho. Ndio anajiwekelea hapo. And the same as Gachagua. Gachagua is trying to kupendekeza yeye na hakuna ladha hata yoyote. Hakuna ladha yoyote anaweza kutuwekea tusikie ati tunampenda hata dakika moja. Huyo ni mtu ambaye ameishia tu hapo kwa mlangoni. Dead on arrival. I think that is what people say. So what we have right now is for us to work hard to see that we get, and if Uhuru is leaving, we get exactly person who we want and whom we feel our blood, our heart, our mind belong to him. We just can't just sit back and see things going wrong. Gashieda, go home. Go and nurse your wounds, because we are not ready for you. These are a fake president. He is just payukering and running all over the world because he has got a chance, misusing funds for the country just because he is a fake president. And fake president, that's the way they behave. Just go to the history. That's the way they behave. Because they didn't go there with the purpose. They went there because they want to be seen and heard. But what we are seeing and we are hearing is rubbish. That's all I can say. I am a Kenyan who has a lot of love of my country. But when I see somebody behaving like a lunatic, somebody who does not even think back, or even think that I stole this election, let me behave, let me show them that I was really ready to do something good for this country. Nothing. He does nothing. Just making pain and pain every day. Kwa sababu ni shughuli gani tushasikia in the morning watu wakasema, hiyo mambo ni mazuri. Which one? Just tell me one. Ati aliamuka akasema watu wakaamkia wakifurahia. Na hata kama mumeambiwa, we have to wait to see, because we have been made to be told so many stories, promises every day, and it has never happened. If El Nino right now comes, it will sweep people away. There is nowhere to harvest that water. Dams were promised long time ago. Nothing has been, even a grass. One piece of grass has not been plucked off from that ground. Nothing has been made. No preparation, even there is no money. First of all, there is no budget for all those things that you are being promised by this guy. That's the pain that people should feel. Mjue ati sisi hata kama saa hii tungeamuka tuambiwe chukueni majembe, Mwende mchimbe pale, tunaanza kutengeneza damu. Hakuna pesa ya kulipa hawa watu wa kazi, kwa sababu there is no money. Only running and misusing the money of the country thriftily, with no respect and promises that will never end. That's all we are facing. Kenyans, is this what we are going to live on? Is this the life that we are looking for? We want our country be intact. However problems we can go through, we can be able to manage ourselves. But it cannot be emanating from the government that seems to be taking care of the country. Fake government, completely. So Omolo, about being kingpin of Central, it doesn't work. And it is not going to work. And it is for me and many others. That is just a mouth talk. Kama vile tu mdomo inaweza kukuambia nitaenda choo, and it is not the one which is going to do that. Things are really bad. But kingpin is not for us. We have Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We are proud of that. And that is what will stand until the time things will change, and they will change and we will be informed that things have changed. Kingpin, nani amemfanya kingpin? Have you seen any celebration of that guy being made kingpin of Central? No, it's only mdomo, kwa sababu anajua he is mocking Central people. He is mocking even the kingpin himself. But the kingpin himself, because he respects himself, he don't like to argue with the fools. He don't want to be seen like a lame duck. He moves away and keeps quiet, which is a very good thing to do. And especially with the Payuka people, just don't argue with them, because nobody will know the difference between you and the fool. I'll stop there, Bernard. And thank you very much for letting me know that was opened. And I feel good. I have aired out my points. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza. Wakenya, hii nchi ni yetu. Lazima tupiganie. The pain is not only on you, it is on every Kenyan, wherever they are. Hata kama wale ni wa UDA, hiyo ya uongo, they are still suffering and they are praying that this thing changes. They are no longer even interested with UDA. They are no longer interested with any party. It's about our country that we are looking for. Parties will come later and they are being created, but we cannot create another Kenya. This is our country that we want to fight for. It's not about somebody trying to snatch it from us. And snatching from us, I mean snatching happiness when we are in our own country. We don't want that. So many people today, I got the message, that are sleeping on the street. Some of them are in these shelters in Canada, confirmed, very well confirmed by somebody, a friend of mine in Canada. Explained so well. Some of them even they are being deported back to Kenya simply because they are just found aimlessly walking, because they didn't know where tembea anaenda anazurura huko na huko. I want him to go to Canada and go stand on the street and see Kenyans there suffering, so that he can know what he is doing to this country. Are we ashamed? Because these children or these Kenyans are running away from Kenya just thinking that they are going to get green pastures, which are not happening, which are not even there. But they go and hit the wall. So this Jambazi, he should go where those Kenyans are. Ndio tuone yeye ni president yule alichaguliwa. awaambie vile atawafanyia huko. Wacha Kenya, huko atasema warudi nyumbani watapata kazi. I will appreciate that. But it will never happen. It's only that Kenyans are struggling all over the world looking for green pastures while they are living green pastures in their country, but it is being withdrawn and taken away by this jambazi. Kwa sababu saili anafunga hii factory. Saili ana stress investors. Watu wanakosa kazi ya kufanya. What are you doing? And in fact, he feels he is so happy because nitakufanyia mambo matatu. Sasa hiyo anafanyia mambo matatu ni watu gani anafanyia? Wa Kenya. That is why some are running out of the country, going to other country. Some are even committing suicide. Some are getting jailed because of snatching people's phone. Who is making all these things? I will just make that this is exactly what Ruto wants to happen. Hata akikosa yeye kukupeleka physically, hiyo vitu zote zinafanyika na zinaendelea kwa nchi yetu. Right now, all those things have happened. Uende binguni, you were deported, ama jela. All those three things have happened without his access, without him doing it, but it has happened. Why? Because of his recklessness ile ameleta nchi yetu. Asante Bernard, nashukuru kwa kunisikiliza. My Kenya, stand up. People of Kenya, we love our country very much. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza. Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you, Mami. We appreciate that. It's 1 o'clock East African time. I want to call it a day. I'm having some sore throat, and we thank God for everything. Omolo Molo, you should give your closing remarks. Respond to what is going on, then your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you so much. Kwanza, I not want to dwell so much on Mount Kenya, affairs. I wish them well. Personally, I know that 80% of what we are passing through were caused by making the bad choices, and I hope that they are learning lesson day in, day out. I want only to tell Mama that he talks something, they say that hata kama mwizi ameiba lakini angekuja afanye mungwana. Nataka kumwambia mwizi na mungwana hawezi kukua katika one sentence. Mwizi anabaki kuwa ana ungwana, hata umbadilishe, umpatie nguo ya bishop, umpatie nguo ya pop. So anybody that is expecting kwamba ati mwizi atageuka akuwe mungwana wafanyia kwa sababu aliiba, you should know that is a daydream. Mwizi atabaki kuwa yule wa kuiba na kunyang'anya na kupora. Hata Biblia inasema kwamba mwizi kazi yake ni kukuja, kwanza ni kuharibu. Nafikiri Bernard unajua sana mambo ya Biblia. Mwizi kwanza kazi yake ni kuharibu, alafu akishaharibu anafanya nini? Anaiba na kunyang'anya. Kwa hivyo that is what we should be expecting. Na jambo lingine pia ni kuwa tusimlaumu Ruto peke yake. Wakenya tujue roli yetu kubwa kwa hii mahangaiko tunapitia, tumeparticipate sisi wenyewe 80%, sababu wakati tulianza kuja kuambiwa kwamba kuna Kamago Airport tukanyamaza. Tulianza kuambiwa na baba wakati ile kwamba kuna mtu amekuja anaitwa Kamago, tukacheka. Haya, Kamago akakuja akafanya vile alifanya. Haya, tukaendelea kucheka. Baba akakuja akasema hii kitu tumeibiwa, tulini Supreme Court. Tukacheka, malao akilumbana kule. Tukasema sisi tukakuwa tunafurahia tu vocabulary ile inaendelea kuja. Haya, wakati tulikuja tukaambiwa twende kwa street, wengine tukasema tukaanza hata kuitana wengine masufuria, tukaanza kuitana wengine nini. Ile siku ambao Wakenya tutaelewa kwamba chapter 1 kwamba the power is in our hands, hiyo siku ndio hatutaweza kuwa tunatawaliwa na mwizi na mnyang'anyi. Lakini as long as kwamba Wakenya wengine bado wanafikiria kwamba ati bila mwanasiasa Kenya haiwezi kukua Kenya, ati bila mtu fulani kusema Kenya haiwezi kukua Kenya. The reason ile ambao unaona Central inaenda yumba yumba ni sababu waliyumbishwa na kudanganywa na pesa, kwenda kanisani, kwenda kuchangia sijui wa mama, kununulia manguo. Juzi ulimuona wanapelekwa kwenda kula mchele State House na nyama. Hiyo mentality ya kwamba ati lazima. Jambo ilikuwa nataka kumwambia mama, alikuwa ametoa mfano na alikuwa na hiyo kitu, hiyo si mfano mzuri. Kuna mfano ambao yani amesema Raila hawezi kuwa kingpin wa Nyanza, na akakuwa nataka kumwambia kwamba ukienda Samburu, ukienda Turkana, ukienda Moyale, wote hawana kingpin. Kingpin yao amekuwa Raila. Ukienda Mombasa, kingpin yao amekuwa ni Raila. Raila amekuwa ni kingpin karibu Kenya mzima, sababu yeye amejitengeneza kuwa kingpin wa taifa. Ruto aliinuka kwanza kukuwa kingpin wa Rift Valley. Hiyo hata ndio politics alikuwa na play. Kama si Mount Kenya kuteleza tu kidogo na kufanya ile makosa walifanya, hatungekuwa hapa mahali tuko. Tunawaombea Bwana Guru, tunaweka Mwenyezi Mungu awaongoze ili kule tunaenda mfanye maamuzi mazuri. Guru umesema labda 2027 kutakuwa na viongozi wapya. Katika hao viongozi wenye wako sasa, kina Ndindi Nyoro, kina Ichung'wah, sioni dalili hapo, lakini tunaombea Mungu vile wakati Saulo Wanaisraeli waliomba wakapatiwa king ambao alikuja kuwapatia kiboko, ndio baadaye wakakuja sasa wakapata mzuri. Tunaombea mupate mzuri, ndio sasa taifa inapokwenda tufanye maamuzi mazuri. Nikimalizia ni kuwa hii serikali ya Ruto hakuna haja kulalamika. Hakuna mtu utangojea uone tofauti. Tofauti iko, yaani from worse to worse. Lakini kama mnangojea tutakuwa na changes, I pity any Kenyan ambaye anasema ati Ruto is going to change this country. Yes, he's going to change, but which changes is he going to do it? He's going to change. Sahi dola tuko 150 na nakwambia before tumalize 2024 dola itakuwa 300. Take this word, dola itakuwa 300 shillings, just like what is happening now in Nigeria. Nigeria sasa hivi wakati huyu ameshika huyu mwenye aliingia pia kama Ruto, na hizi dola yao imefikia 1,300. So hata si tuzishangae before hii 5 years term dola itakuwa imefika 1,000. Ile kitu iko ni kuwa Wakenya tuamue ile kitu ambayo tunafanya. Tuko na option bado, bipartisan, tuangalie na macho mawili. Ikienda vile inaenda, Wakenya tuwe tumeamua tutafanya nini. Tusingojee tu ati kwamba ati sababu, wacha tuangalie. Sasa hiyo pia tuko katika hiyo bipartisan, maongeo, national dialogue. Kama hatutasikizwa, tutangoja nini nyingine tena? Si afadhali tu kwende vile kunaenda mara moja, peacekeeping ikuje kidogo na tunyoroshe maneno, ikuwe vile imekuwa. Nchi zingine zimetengeneza na zimekuwa. Kwa nini yetu inakuwa ni shida? Kwani si kutengeneza tu miezi 2 hivi?
Sawa Bwana Omolo, tamatisha masaa mbaya.
Yes, kwa hivyo ile kitu mimi nasema ni kuwa Wakenya ni lazima tuamke. Heri tuchapuke mara moja, alafu ndio kila mmoja aende laundry, aoshe, apige nguo pasi, tukuje sasa wote tukiwa tunanukia perfume. Kuliko hii mambo tunadanganyana na wengine huku wananuka, wengine kule wananukia.
Sawa. Thank you very much. Ningependa tu kukumbusha kwamba kuna hiyo title inaitwa Kingpin katika tuseme katika enzi hii ama this dispensation, we have 2 categories of Kingpin: the imposter and the legit. So when you are referring to so and so is a Kingpin, we must put that differentiation, okay? Because there is getting in office the right way, and then there is getting in the office through the window. When you get to the office through the window, you may even take the whole kingdom, but the stigma of you having gotten there illegitimately, you can't wash it away. And that is the uphill task that our current leadership is challenged with. And as young leaders, I believe we have to take our lessons from such. Jesus said, I'm the correct shepherd because I come through the door. Those that came before me are thieves and robbers because they did not come with the right door. So we must guard against assuming public service through wrong means because it places you in wrong position. Instead of serving the country, you begin to safeguard your interest at the expense of the country and causing pain everywhere and everybody to cry with your name. And so our traditional values and our structure of governance as different communities, different regions, that must have been the main focus of the distraction, or rather the mess that we got ourselves in when we let somebody who has no regard for values, who has no regard for honor, to despise what we esteemed as the people and replace it with at pangwingwi, with we don't care, with hao ni wazee, sisi ni vijana, sisi ndio wenyewe. In the process, we are found on a no man's land. No law applies to us. Every law is against us, and we don't know which one to engage to get what. So the confusion that we are in right now has, in my opinion, is not accidental. It's been coming. And just like we are, we are gradually replacing important things with less important things. It will eventually bring us to a place where things that ought to save us are no longer in our reach. And that's how bad things could get. So as we close the show, I want to appreciate everybody for being part and parcel of this. Thank you so much for participating into the poll and other aspect of the show. Please remind everybody that we are now found on Sound Candid Talk TV. That is on YouTube. The rest are still Sound Candid Talk Twitter, which is called X nowadays. And then Facebook page is still Sound Candid Talk. Our usual Sound Candid Talk channel has issues with YouTube. We are sorting them out. When we are through, we'll go back there. But in the meantime, let's get everybody to subscribe to Sound Candid Talk TV on YouTube. That is the channel where we'll be doing our broadcast on YouTube until we are able to get back to our usual channel. Mr. Guru, I give you the last word even as we close. Karibu.
Yes, Bernard, I will not talk much. The only thing I can say here is that we as a country, we are at our lowest moment. The lowest we've come perhaps since 1990s, when families were not sure what to eat, whether their children will go to school, whether if a member of a family is sick, you can be able to take care of him or her. But that's where we are. So what is important now is to go understanding that it's not in the divisions that we have that will bring out the solutions, but in pushing together, regardless of one's inclinations. If something is wrong, it is wrong, regardless of who is doing it. I'm happy that my backyard, the Mount Kenya region, people have started understanding that beyond singing for someone, that a reader must bring something to leadership, must have skills and ability to lead. Things have collapsed in the mountain. The commodities that people used to rely on are no longer viable as per now in terms of prices that are being offered. life has become more expensive. Getting bursaries and getting children to school has become even more difficult, and so on and so forth. But the redeeming fact here is that we have a resilient population. They may not act immediately, but I can tell you this. We've been through this before. 1990s was an awakening moment for this country. And once the ball starts kicking, there will be no stoppage of what the Kenyan people can achieve using the constitution that they gave themselves in 2010. I am seeing a right at the end of the channel, and what we are going through are just the motions. Otherwise, that movement has started, and I don't see any stoppage. So, good night for those who have been listening to us.
Asante sana, Mr. Guru. Great one. Thank you so much. Let's engage again later on in the course of the day. Omolo, you are unmuting. What's the matter?
No, it's okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, and get well. Get something for that cough, huh?
Yes, thank you. I'm on medication. That is why.
It's okay. It's well. Thank you. Mommy, anything before we close, please? We are out of here.
Kenyans, don't sleep. It is not time for sleeping. It's time to unite. It's time to fight for our country. Tusichoke hata kidogo. Ukichoka mwambie mwenzako ndio afuatilie pahali umefikisha. Tafadhali, nchi yetu ni muhimu sana. Sisi hatutaki kuishi kwa nchi za watu wengine. We want to be going there as tourists, and we leave our healthy country knowing that huko kukiumana mtu anakimbia nyumbani kwao ambapo anaelewa na amezoea. Hiyo ndio nchi yetu, tumeumbiwa na Mungu na tuiombee sana. Mimi nitasema hivyo, wa Kenya wasilale. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiza. Thank you.
Thank you, Mami. Thank you, everyone else. God bless you. Please, let's link up again in the next show.
Maneno ya kutafutana na Uhuru Kenyatta wachana nayo. Uhuru alifanya kazi yake akaenda wapi? Nyumbani.
If they continue this thing about Uhuru Kenyatta, they are going to see the things they've never seen from some of us. You will hear what they call broadly inclusivity. Inclusivity is nusu mkate. That is why they want us to give them a blank check. Lakini ngo, there will be no blank check. The issues that were agreed on are 5 issues. If you don't want to take that, I told them yesterday, please go back to the streets.
Calling yourself a Democrat when you loot all the resources of your country, mislead people, torture them, imprison them, burn their businesses to us, and you call that a democracy or a civilian rule and an illegally elected government? The leaders must stop lying to their electorate first. They must stop the corruption. They must stop looting our resources. They must understand that they are not a better citizen than anybody. They are given a responsibility, a role to play to help develop the countries and make sure that there is peace and tranquility and respect the constitution of the country.
Democracy depends on strong institutions, and it's about minority rights and checks and balances and freedom of speech and freedom of expression and a free press and the right to protest and petition the government and an independent judiciary and everybody having to follow the law.